All right, good evening. I would like to open the December 5th meeting of the Wakefield Conservation Commission. We'll take roll call. Ken,
Here,
and Ken, you are the co-host.
thank you.
Haley,
Not yet.
I thought I saw her pop in. All right, Jim,
Yeah,
Paul,
Yes,
Peter,
Yes.
Teresa.
Yes,
Okay. First up is the approval of the minutes for November 21st. Would somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make that motion to
Is there
approve the
some-
minutes. Sorry.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All right, all in favor? Ken,
Yes.
Jim,
yes,
Paul,
yes,
Peter,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes,
and I also vote yes. All right, there is an announcement that 94 Butler Ave, DEP 313-631 has been postponed to January 16th at the applicant's request. Again, if there's anybody here for 94 Butler Ave, it has been postponed to January 16th at the applicant's request. I'll make that announcement again after the next hearing. All right, I'm going to be recusing myself for the next item on the agenda. It's DEP 313-636, 71 Kendrick Road. Jim, you want to take over for this one?
yeah,
Thank you.
I can do that.
All right, I'll be muting.
Oh, what are we waiting for, me?
yes,
You and I believe John.
Starting now? Okay,
yes,
Goodbye.
wait a minute. I don't have the agenda with me right now.
So it is DEP 313-636, 71 Kendrick Road. Mike Leach, public hearing notice of intent for the construction of an addition and deck within a buffer to BVW, and I believe John is probably here for that.
Okay,
And goodbye.
okay,
Haley's here, by the way.
okay.
She's-
well,
I,
So John, do you want to do your presentation?
Sure. Good evening, John Ogren, Hayes Engineering. We're the civil engineers and land surveyors for the notice of intent, 71 Kendrick Road. I believe on here is Joanne Leach, one of the owners of the property. If I might share my screen, can you run through what we're proposing? They said 71 Kendrick Road. It's pretty much very near the beginning of what was called the extension of Kendrick Road. You can see up here. There's kind of between Kingmont and Adele Circle, part of the Kendrick extension subdivision this lot was. As far as existing on the site, there's an existing house here. There's a deck, driveway. There's an existing wood shed in the backyard. This is actually right near, there's a crossing, wetlands crossing that was part of the subdivision. That's just beyond this property. So there are wetlands located basically to the, I believe it's to the east. And this is delineated here. We flagged the bordering vegetated wetland along the rear of the property. We showed the 25-foot buffer and the 100-foot buffer. So as you can see, the entirety of this lot is either wetlands or within the 100-foot buffer. Topography wise, comes up slightly from the roadway, Kendrick, and then it slopes off fairly steeply to the east towards the wetland on the east side of the existing house, and then it's graded out in the back. There's a backyard along this, along the wetlands in the rear of the property. So we're looking at it in terms of existing, in terms of proposed. There's proposing a 16 by 16 addition to the existing house. Also a porch out in front with some stairs, and then off the back there's a proposed wood deck. So essentially this addition is going in the area of the existing deck. I just jump back so in case. So this is the existing deck and the driveway. They're proposing to extend the house, put the addition on in the area of the existing deck. And then some of the addition and the porch will extend into the existing driveway itself. In terms of grading, there's really no proposed grade changes. This is basically a walkout in the back in this house. There is a foundation and a cellar floor on this addition. This would basically be at that same grade. So there's really no changes to the grade itself out there. So really what we're looking at is the proposed addition, the porch in the front, and then the additional deck off the rear of the property.
Is the
And that's essentially,
deck going to be on piers, John, or
yeah, it would have sonotubes and
sonotube piers? Okay.
yeah, it would be open underneath.
Okay.
So
Was there another iteration of
it.
the, sorry.
John,
there-
when was this house built? And obviously it was subject to an order of conditions, and I'm sure got a certificate of compliance, right? Do you know when that was?
I do. It was actually back in wrong thing. It was only a partial that was issued, but back in December of 1992, there was a partial certificate of compliance that was issued for this lot. Somewhere in here it says lot 1. It was obviously, I think the original order was in 92 also. That was earlier in 92, and then this was issued later. Yeah, it was issued in May of 92 was the original order, and then they issued the certificate, the partial certificate of compliance. So it's been like this for 30 years.
Yeah, I just mentioned it because obviously in 1992, I don't know if we had the 25-foot policy, but we.
What does a partial certificate mean? What is that means that only that was non-compliance with a portion of it? What is, I don't understand.
Well, the partial, it says right here.
No
covered-
application work, right?
it
Was that work
covers-
ever done?
What's that?
Was that replication work ever done?
I could not find where there was any certificate of compliance issued for that.
And it covers this lot?
It covers this lot, correct? It was
Oh,
in the rear of this lot. I believe it was, the replication area was part of, this was a crossing of the existing wetlands. And I believe this area back here was, replication for that's roadway crossing.
was the replication ever done? Forget about the certificate of compliance.
That I don't have, and I could not find any, certificate of compliance for the.
No, but
subdivision.
if the work was done, but there was no certificate issued, I mean, that would be good. Not as good as if there was a certificate, but was the work done? Do you know, John?
I do not know.
Okay,
Like I
that's
said,
okay.
It was 30 years ago. I don't.
I know. We were
I know,
much younger
but-
then. We were much
but can
younger then, John.
Can I
Oh,
ask
I think,
find what the replication was supposed to have been? I mean, so we can determine whether it had been done? I mean, to the extent relevant,
I can add something to this, I think. I think this was that me and Elaine went, did they plant, is this where there's a bunch of pine trees, John, in the backyard?
Yeah, there are.
Looked like
Yeah,
two
there are
there.
some larger
Maybe
trees.
two
Yeah,
pine
pine
trees.
trees in the back. Correct.
So I think this is the one that me and Elaine looked at for the replication. So we should check with Elaine. I think the replication was done.
Is the homeowner here? And did the homeowner own it in 1992?
I don't
I
You
know
did
wouldn't-
about,
not, we're not the original owners, but my neighbor said, I'm not sure if this is what you're referring to. There's a bunch of blueberry bushes that had to be planted.
oh,
So
yeah,
those are back there.
yeah. I think Elaine will remember. I believe that we are.
Rebecca, did you pull the other file number? You probably didn't know about it. I'm sorry, Rebecca is there tonight, right?
Yeah, I'm here. Yep. So there are two file numbers.
Yep.
There's 91, which is for the whole subdivision, and then there's was it 162 or 3? I can't remember. Which is for this lot. Both of those orders were referenced on this deed. I doubt that the original subdivision certificate of compliance was ever issued based on the fact that there were a number of outstanding items that were promised that were never given, some similar to some other subdivision, but so I don't know if these folks have that original order still on their deed, of which we should probably give them a partial for number 91, the subdivision. So I do have the previous order of conditions. The blueberry bushes sound familiar to me too. When someone just said that, my guess, and this is a guess right now, and I will also have to speak with Elaine, but I vaguely remember a conversation, something along the lines of when you do the replication in an area that's wooded, you start to sacrifice canopy for the replication. And so I don't know if the planting of the blueberry bushes were some type of compromise to improve the natural area. However, not to do a full replication because that would require removing full-size trees. It sounds vaguely familiar. I did not have time to go. These files were stored next door in the archives, and I did not have time to go look at that before this meeting. I can try to do it before the next one. I mean, I knew you guys would be on a site visit, so I had a little bit more time. So yeah, that I plan on doing that too. I was going to ask John a few questions that I can hold off now, but that's where that stands as far as what I vaguely remember.
John, I'm sorry, can you pull up the partial that you showed us? What file number was that?
That one was
162.
162.
So, and right, okay, and then as Rebecca said, the one that's not done is 91. Okay.
Well, it's interesting because I don't know why they wouldn't have gotten a full certificate of compliance under 162, because that
Right.
was specific.
Right.
It must have been, and in the original order, it does reference this lot for replication. So we'll just have to sort it out. I'll get in touch with Elaine. We'll get the details for next time. And maybe what we can do, we should probably close out 162. Maybe give them a partial on 91, just so they have it for their records. I don't think we can close it out, but you can give them a partial for their lot. And then we'll finish up with this one.
Was this replication work done on the same lot that they want to put an addition on now? Because it seems kind of funny. It seems like it's describing work that wouldn't normally be done by a homeowner.
Yeah, like I said, I did try to go back to raw files, and it wasn't really clear as to what the replication, but like I said, looking at the definitive subdivision plans, it certainly looked like this area that was the replication was, in the rear of this lot, was replicating for the roadway crossing. So yeah, I don't think, it didn't look like, from what I saw, it didn't look like the replication was, associated directly with the construction of the house of this lot. It looked like it more had to do with the subdivision itself.
Right.
John, I think that's exactly right. I have the order from file number 91 in front of me, and condition number 48, sorry. Let me read it to you guys real quick. Says, the commission feels that the use of BVW area as a major retention pond may cause a significant alteration. Therefore, prior to the issuance of the certificate of compliance, the BVW around the retention pond shall be flagged, surveyed, delineated on a map and provided to the commission. Said delineation shall be performed by, a botanist. The wetland shall be delineated using the standard methodology. All loss of BVW, if any, shall be replicated by the applicant. To this end, lots 6 and 7, this is 7, shall be kept in reserve for any necessary replication and shall not be built upon until this condition is satisfied and a certificate is issued. So,
Wow, should not be built upon. Is that?
yeah, since it's built upon, I'm only assuming that they felt it was satisfied.
Yeah.
But we can go take like I said, I'll have to go back next door. I don't have these in the office. And I can pull up all of this information for the next meeting. John will of course send it all to you as well.
Is there a retention pond around here, John?
I think it's across the street.
Yeah, I don't recall if there was a retention or detention pond associated with this.
John, weren't they using that pond across the street, which is where there's a connection between the two on this, under this section of road?
Yeah, there's definitely a connection because there's two pipes that go underneath the roadway.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm not entirely sure, but I thought they were referring to that one across the street. They must be, I don't know, they must have been concerned about perhaps additional water going in the pond and a loss of BVW. And so I'm guessing based on these words, but we'll try to figure it out for sure.
There's no pond. I mean, the pond must be further back because you can't see it. There's no pond there.
I think it's across the street, like where it says on this, if we're looking at the screen where it says lot 4F.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the pond up there.
But there's no pond shown. You're saying, I mean, you're
Right.
saying, right. So I'm just saying there's no pond there, but maybe it's not meant to show a pond. It's just meant to show a lot. No pond.
I mean, I can look closer at the definitive plans and see where at least. I know I pulled out an as-built, but the as-built didn't show anything as far as anything off of the road, basically.
Yeah, well, John, you and I can probably, I think you guys were the original engineers on the whole subdivision.
We were.
Yeah, so between the two of us, hopefully we have enough information where we can at least just get the paperwork squared away.
You might have bits and pieces of the paperwork, and I may have some.
We can put the puzzle together. Let me ask a quick question. John, do you know when that the shed was constructed?
That I do not know.
Okay, I just didn't find it in the building plan, the database, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. I'm not always able to find it. Okay,
Well, the plans that were filed, I mean, if you go back to the original file, right, the original notice of intent, it should show it, right?
If you go to an aerial on Google, you'll see a large pond on the other side of the road in that, inside that curve, actually.
Okay.
yeah, and John, do you know how this wetland delineation compares to the original? I didn't go next door to pull out the original. I was just wondering if you had it handy or if you had looked at it recently.
I think along the along the edge of the near the house, it compared. I didn't necessarily pull it out and compare it. Like, that's one of the things. Again, we're talking 30 years. I don't know how valid what was flagged 30 years ago compares to today. Things do change.
So
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Rebecca, go ahead.
No, I was just that's kind of what I was curious to see what it looked like before and after 30 years later. Just curious.
Yeah, I mean, I can overlay the two if you'd like.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great idea. Yeah, because
So looking at the map, how close is the new addition to the, I'm sorry, I don't have my, my big computer, so I'm having trouble seeing this a little bit.
It looks like the new deck has a corner inside the 25-foot buffer.
Yeah, you're correct. There's just a corner of the deck is inside it. The actual addition itself is outside the 20. Is just outside the 25.
And
Okay.
can I ask though, in the addition, the 16 by 16, so that right now there was a deck there. There's a deck there, is that right?
Correct.
And the entire deck is on pilings? The existing deck.
Yes.
And is the 16 by 16 going to have a basement? What kind of foundation?
Yeah, it's going to have a regular foundation.
So
it's gonna have
what
that
used to
cellar
be
floor.
piles is now going to be filled in, basically.
So,
It's going to be part of the basement.
Yep. Okay. So how much additional
okay, so
fill space?
that area,
Yeah. I'm sorry, Ken. Go ahead.
I was just thinking that area has a concrete block wall, right? That's retaining, I don't know how many feet there, but so it looks like the edge of the foundation for the new addition would be within that filled area that's retained by that concrete block wall. So how is that foundation going to work for that new addition on the northern side of it?
On the concrete block wall side.
Yeah, exactly. The
Yeah,
upper north plan.
it would be this the front, the portion facing Kendrick Road, and this left side would be that would pretty much be at the grade of the driveway. And then as you can see, the existing contours, it slopes down. It goes from 211 down to the rear of the house at 207. So the grade would continue to slope like it does now, and there would just be exposed concrete, concrete wall on that side, and then obviously along the rear.
So you'd have
Okay,
that
so you can
retaining
you can
wall
bear
tied in. Sorry, Ken.
I was
go
just
ahead.
thinking, so you can bear the footing on the side closest to the street. You could bear that on the existing soil that's being retained, or do you have to have a bigger excavation to go down beyond what's retained?
That would be
right
dug
now?
down from that, say, around the 211 elevation down to you can see right here. This is over. Can you guys see Mike's cursor?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Over here,
Yeah.
threshold is like 207,771. So that would be the grade coming out of the back of the property. So that 20771 would essentially be what the cellar floor would be in that whole 16 by 16. So that would be dug down from that 211 down to that 207.
So how much more area is there now, would there be now with that addition? Not the deck, just the house portion with the basement. How much more, because right now that it's on, right, it's on pile, it's on deck, it's up. So how much more, how much additional area would there be now, you know, with the basement? I guess 16 by 16, I could do that math.
Yeah, it would be 16 by 16.
Right, okay, okay.
So it's about almost 260 square feet.
Is there any iteration or any way that could push that deck up out of that 25-foot buffer zone? Like, could this, instead of being aligned to the back of the house, be aligned closer to the front?
I think the goal was this existing driveway. As you can see, it's about 31 feet from the sideline of the road to the new porch. That should give sufficient space to park, you know, 2 cars tandem.
And that new deck is just slightly further into than the old deck, right? Into the 25?
This deck, it's kind of
Can you
hard.
see-
It's kind of hard to see on this, but this line here that kind of runs through the 8s,
Yes,
that's kind of the extent of
the existing deck.
yeah, there's the existing deck.
I see. The existing deck is just shy of that 25-foot buffer. I got you.
Yeah, before the existing deck is literally right at the 25 foot.
Right.
But a big portion of the house is within that 25 foot, so.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know who was on the commission in 1992. Who knows?
I don't remember who was on that.
John can look at who signed the certificate of compliance. John, right?
That's true.
We don't have to guess. Frank and
Oh, yeah. Who's there?
That looks familiar, maybe.
and Robert, someone was the chairman.
Mm.
It's hard to tell who signed under you, to Frank. But that's okay.
Well, at least I'm legible.
Hmm.
And how can there only be 2 signatures? Oh, what was this?
Three signatures. So maybe there are only 6. Well, I don't know. That's a good question.
Well,
Robert,
it looks like
oh,
the
Robert
chairman.
Moore. Robert
chairman
Morris
next
was the
one.
chairman.
Yeah,
Right,
Robin
Robert-
Morris. Yeah.
Right.
I wasn't responsible for this.
Uh-huh. Likely story.
All right.
We need to schedule a site visit.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, let's do that. What's an available date for everyone?
Well, you know,
Anyone? What-
Bob won't be here for the weekend.
Yeah, well, he's not gonna wanna go.
Oh,
anyway.
I'm sorry. He's recused. Okay. So what does this weekend look like? I don't know. Sunday at
Yeah,
at-
someone got the weather.
Sunday at 8:30 or 9. Is that? I don't know.
That'd be fine with me. I don't know
I
about
could
anyone.
do that. Yeah, I'd want to do it early enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
do you have a
9.
pre- How about anyone else?
Yeah, I think I should be available, 8:39.
Okay. And Haley and Peter.
Yes, I vote 9.
You vote
Okay.
9? Is that what you said?
Yep.
Okay.
What day? I'm sorry, what day?
It's Sunday.
Sunday
Yeah.
the 10th.
Yeah, it should be okay. Sunday gonna rain? You see?
I think in the afternoon.
Okay.
Sunday at 9 it is. And
Okay.
Rebecca will send an invitation.
So coffee at,
Actually, Sunday's just supposed to be cloudy. Monday's supposed to be the rain now, Peter.
breakfast at Bob's, I'd say full breakfast, I'm thinking, maybe.
All right. All right, so are we gonna continue this until?
Is that okay with you, John? Is that okay with you and the homeowner?
It's okay with me.
We have to be there? I will be home at 9, yes.
You
That
don't
works.
have to. It's
No,
just,
you don't.
No, I would like to be there. I mean, is it okay if we're there?
Oh, yeah.
yes.
Yeah, okay, that works, thank you.
And Rebecca, will you send the calendar invite, please?
It's already done.
You're awesome.
Okay, thank
The
you.
all important calendar invite that would,
All right. Are we done with this for right now?
Yes.
Okay, so John, you're gonna be there next Sunday, John? Or not?
I will
John,
plan to be there, yes.
Okay. Okay, so we're gonna continue this until next week or in 2 weeks, and we're done for right now. And now we're gonna bring Bob
Okay.
back.
All right, I'm back. The commission was smaller back in 92, by the way. Just to clarify that, why there was only 3 signatures on that. All right, so before we move on, I will announce again that Butler Ave, 94 Butler Ave, DEP 313631 has been postponed, sorry, at the applicant's request until January 16th, Butler Ave. All right, next up, we have DEP 313635, 154 Salem Street, LNL Development, public hearing continued. It's abbreviated notice resource area delineation for approximately 410 linear feet of BVW and 751 linear feet corresponding to mean annual high water. And I see Thor is with us.
Thank you,
Evening.
Mr. Chair. Good evening, everyone. Thor Akerley, wetland scientist from Williamson's Barrages, here representing L&L Development. So I guess the news since the last meeting is that Rebecca and I were able to get out there and look at the wetland line. We walked the back portion of the wetland there. I'll share my screen here just to reorient everyone. Rebecca and I augured some soil holes along here and over through here. And otherwise, I think, we took a look at it with some of the commission members as well. But I'm happy to answer any other questions that you may have. And yeah, I don't have much else to add, unfortunately.
Rebecca, did you have anything you wanted to comment on regarding this?
Nope. Exactly as Thor said, we went out, we looked at a couple spots. I thought it looked pretty good, and then we left. It was it. Looks good to me.
So no issues with the flags.
No issues.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from the commission?
Nope.
No?
No, nothing.
Would somebody like to make a motion to approve the resource area delineation?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a
Bob,
second? Yeah.
Bob, did you want to ask for public comment if there is any first?
Oh, sure. I did skip that. Thank you, Judy. Is there any questions from the public regarding this resource area delineation? And again, it is just a resource area delineation, demarking the wetland resources on the property. All right, hearing none. Did we have a motion?
Yes,
Is there a second?
I'll
Second.
second it. Nope.
All right, any discussion? All right,
No.
all in favor? Haley,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Peter,
yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
and I also vote yes.
All right. Thank you all. Thanks for coming out and getting your hands dirty with me for a morning. That was fun.
Can't wait for the
At
next
least our
one.
shoes.
Yeah.
Shoes too, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Good night. All right, we do have a little bit of time for our 7:45. We do have a few other business items we could start tackling. Rebecca, any preference in order?
I would say let's hold off on the model bylaw and let's go to the other two. We can probably tick those off pretty quickly.
Sure, what's this, the vote for the pay the Eagle Scout expenses? Tell us about that one.
So do you remember the young Eagle Scout who mapped a part of the trail for us, and then he provided that mapping GIS information to Katie downstairs to put on a map, and he also created 2 signs. He constructed 2 signs. So the 639 is for the materials to do that construction. Judy, if you don't mind, Judy, I know you spoke with him. Did he have, and he gave Judy an itemized list. I didn't know if Judy, you had any comment regarding some of the supplies or information on that?
The majority of it was supplies. The signs were purchased. The stand for the sign at JJ Round, and also for food for the team that he had with him. And there's also a letter that the commission needs to submit to the Boy Scout troop. I think I sent that to Rebecca.
A letter that we submit to the Boy Scout?
Yes, part of the requirement for his project is that the commission confirmed that he thanked the commission for sponsoring the project. And also just endorsing him being elevated to an Eagle Scout, I think would be nice.
Yeah, agreed.
So Judy, you crafted that nice letter. I have it right in front of me. I will forward it around right now, this very second. So are they voting on to do the payment and also to let me sign that letter on their behalf?
Yes.
All right, so would somebody like to make that motion?
Question on it. Where does that expense money come from?
The wetland, the Habitat Replacement Fund.
Okay, so that money is already tagged off to the side, and it's a pool that's sitting there that is able to access for that?
Yes.
Judy, we may be able to use, hold on a second. I have sorry for my crinkling papers if you can hear. Oh, here it is. I have the budget here. We might be able to use oh rats, I have the wrong budget here. Not the habitat replacement, but I think we have some leftover, whether it's from that old Alcoa gift that we received. Do you remember that? Or the I can pull it up in a second. There was another one.
Yeah, there isn't, I mean, it doesn't really matter which fund. I already applied it, so I
Okay.
mean, we can always move the money from one fund to another if that's the case.
Yeah, I just didn't know if Haley wanted to know the specific one, in which case it comes out of funds that are conservation funds, but it doesn't
Yeah,
have
it's
to be
not
that
out of, it's not out of
habitat
the town's general operating
replacement. Right,
budget.
not on the general, right.
And we've funded a number of scout projects in the past. It's been a great partnership with them, and their contributions to signage and cleaning up of trails and things of that nature. It's really worked well for us and them over the years.
I agree. I think it's great. He did a good job. And I think I agree with you. I think it's a good relationship to keep going.
Excellent letter,
Yeah,
Judy, excellent letter.
agreed.
Jim, do you like to be Frank J. Luciani Jr. or F. James Luciani?
Why are you asking me that?
Because
Proud
your
to be
signature,
sued.
Because
It's it's a
I
secret.
prepared the letter, not with a name, not this way.
No, I just want to be what is the purpose of this discussion?
To know how you like your name written. It's a very elementary question, Jim. I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
Okay,
Judy has you as F. James Luciani
Right.
signing this letter.
that's the right way.
Okay.
J. Luciani
So
Jr.
you're listed incorrectly on the town's website in terms of listing your name as a commissioner. That's all, Jim.
Well, that's all right. That's probably why I don't get any calls.
There you go.
So did we have a motion to approve that funding and a letter?
Motion.
And
Second.
Okay, any discussion or further discussion? All right, hearing none, all in favor? Ken,
Yes.
Haley,
Yes.
Jimmy,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
and I also vote yes. All right. We do have a few more minutes. Want to talk about Patriot Circle tree removal at the base of the retaining wall? DEP 313633. I know you sent some information.
Yep. Yeah, I think we can get it done real quick. Yeah, it was a great email. They were just starting to do the work and they were concerned that the base of the wall might disturb the roots, which is probably a good concern. And he just wanted some guidance from you all on how you would like him to handle it. I thought that I just got that. I think I got it today, so I figured I'll just let you guys look it over and see what you like.
Rebecca, is that wall existing or is it a wall that they want to put in?
I think it's
I think
both.
it was- Yeah, I think it was an extension. There was
Yeah.
a partial piece of it that was existing, and then they were gonna fix up and extend it.
Okay, so that's why they feel they might cut the roots, because I'm sure they've already cut a lot of roots to put the original wall in.
I think it's part of the new wall.
Okay,
So he sent one of the emails. One had the description, and the second one had a picture on it, and he circled it in yellow. And if you look at that, there you go. You can see that tree indicated right there along the wall.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
probably the one he's talking about. Looks, does it say 24 inches?
but isn't that wall already there, going past the tree? The way
I think that's so where the little zigzag lines are, I think that's the part is new at where and the or am I gonna
Yeah.
there's part that's new and a part that existing, and I'm not sure I know which because I didn't do the site visit, so I'm not sure which
But
one's
the wall, but Rebecca, the wall looks for continuous all the way down to, from way up in the road there.
Yep, it says proposed wall.
Oh, that's a proposed wall? Oh, yeah, that's a proposed wall. I see. Okay, so that's,
Saying proposed top of wall is 81.
yeah,
So that's a 24-inch DBH tree. It's a big tree.
yeah.
We have an
And
aerial?
okay, so where the squiggle lines are, well, wait a minute,
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
That's
The
erosion
squiggly lines,
control.
yeah.
Yeah, were they gonna build that existing wall up a little bit over here? And then the rest of it was new?
Did you guys went to the site visit, didn't you?
yeah.
There must have been a part of a wall there, right?
I thought there was a wall there. That's why I'm confused. I thought there was already a wall there.
Don't forget about the stone wall off along the wetlands to the right. That is,
Yeah.
that's there and it's been
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Hmm.
We have an aerial view of this.
That'd
What's
be
the address?
what number Patriot?
It's like 0 Patriot Circle.
Oh, right. This is a
It's in the
hard one for
corner.
Google to find.
Well,
The aerial can't tell you.
No.
This email says, looking at the site plan, it is the only tree marked where the wall is going. The concern is that when the wall is being dug, the roots may be disturbed. So that wall is not there yet.
So do we say start digging and see, how much disturbance there is? That's one option. Maybe it's not significant enough. Who knows which way the roots are going or how straight down they go or spreading out. And they're going down, what? They'll have to go down 4 feet for that wall, right?
Well, what's more important? Is it providing a large canopy or to the wetland, or is it far enough
Let me
away?
share my screen. Bob, can I do that?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, hang
You
on.
can, Paul.
Uh,
We can make this quick too. It's 7:47 now.
There's I think this is the lot that's being developed.
We're
is
not
my
seeing your,
recollection.
There it
are we
is.
seeing
Yeah.
your screen?
Yep.
And it appears to be a wall here, but then the rest of the way back in, you can't really tell. There's pretty solid canopy.
Right.
So I'm not sure taking
Paul,
out,
can I,
Can you do a street view? Would that show it?
actually, Paul, can I show you my screen
there's,
instead? It might be-
let's try that then. I think we're talking about here. Yeah, we're going back, it's going back in here. So you can see the wall.
Mm.
This shows a much thinner canopy.
Ken just asked that he wants to show us something.
Yeah, do you mind me? Do you mind if
All
I
right,
share
I'll
something?
stop share. Go ahead, Ken.
Is this the existing wall?
Ah,
And the new wall wraps around?
right.
Yeah. So the tree must be one of those right there. Yeah.
Or this one right here?
Yeah.
Yep.
So essentially, it looks like they're going to wrap the wall around this lot.
Yeah, right.
Can't they move the wall closer away from the tree?
Yeah, do a little wrap around it.
Almost like a well.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, can you flip back to the plan? Let's just take a look at that angle of the wall.
You're asking Paul to do that? I'm sorry.
Oh, Ken, it's gonna flip
Okay.
back to the plan.
Sorry,
Yeah, that would put it much closer to the house in that spot. That would be a little awkward to
Yeah,
well it. You wouldn't be able to get
there's
anything
not
back
much
there.
space.
Well, we can, suggest what I already mentioned, see what you can do, dig and, see what you can do
Mm.
once you
Yeah.
get that root level
Well, they'll probably be back in a couple of years wanting to take it down.
down
probably.
anyways, yeah. Or if the roots would get damaged, it'll die off.
Mm. Yeah.
then sometimes that screws up the foundation for the wall. If that roots are rotting and disappear.
Yeah, was that an oak? I think it was an oak from the aerial, but I couldn't quite tell. Yeah, if they're going down 4 feet, you gotta believe they're gonna be hitting some good roots.
Yeah.
Are they asking to take the tree now, or are they asking what they should do?
They were asking for guidance. Yep.
Yeah, I don't think welling around it is probably something they would want to do. And who
Well-
knows how big those roots are?
What if you took it down and asked them to replace it with something somewhere else?
Yeah, that's an option. They are putting shrubs along that whole wall line in the back or the side and the back. I forget which.
Mhm.
So they may already have that covered from that standpoint. Remember, they're putting arborvitaes or something along the wall.
Yeah.
There was a landscape plan. I think that Paul had shared with us that showed the
Do we
planting.
have that plan? Do we have that planting plan available or not? I think we must be late by now, Bob.
We
I was gonna say,
we're
I
like
can
6
pull it up
months.
and I can pull up the landscaping plan and email it to you guys for you to look at, but why don't we move on to
Yeah,
the,
yeah, it's 7:52.
yeah,
So
I'll do that
we'll-
while you guys are doing the next one.
All right, so next up is 313-634. It's 117 New Salem Street. Carol and Richard Hubbard. This is a public hearing continued. Notice of intent for the construction of an addition, replacement of a deck, repaved driveway, pave a gravel area, and associated grading within a buffer to BVW. Okay, welcome back.
Hi, everyone. My name's Maureen Herold. I'm from Norse Environmental Services. Here on the call tonight is Carol Hubbard. She is the homeowner of the property. So at the last conservation meeting and at the last site walk, the commission had asked me to do some research in terms of when the different structures were constructed on the site. And I provided a write-up to the commission. I can bring in the plan so we can kind of take a look at everything and go through the dates quickly if the commission would like. If that
Yes, please.
works. Okay. So just a real quick orientation to the commission. The wetland line is highlighted in green. The 25-foot no disturb is in yellow. The erosion controls are shown in orange, 50-foot in pink, and the entire lot is within the 100-foot buffer zone. So the house itself was built in 1950. I supplied the commission with the property card and the package. I found aerials from 1978 that shows the dwelling and an above-ground pool at the very rear of the property. I can bring those in if the commission would like to take a look at it. The next one I looked at was from 1995. That's when the garage was shown on the property in that aerial. So I can assume it was either 1995 or earlier that the garage was constructed on the site. I found a 2001 aerial that shows the dwelling, the garage, in this type of driveway extension. 2011, the town had issued a building permit for a pool. I provided a list of the building permits in the package itself. Let's see, 2013 to 2014, we have all the features. That aerial shows the pool pad and not necessarily the above ground pool itself. It was removed. But the homeowners reapplied for a building permit in 2018 for the pool itself. 2019 is when the shed was put on the property. I'm circling the shed on the plan as we speak. Let's see, 2019 and 2020, the deck was installed around the pool itself. 2023, a new patio in wall was constructed on the property as well as replacing these stairs. So in summary, essentially there's been an above ground pool on the property since 1978. So there's been one that has been present, taken down, reinstalled on the property, taken down, put back up on the property. Some of that predates the existing homeowners. 2018, Carol had pulled a building permit for the above ground pool, but just wasn't aware of the actual conservation process in and of itself. The work that was performed this year, as you can see from looking at the plan, we should have applied and received a permit from the commission itself. But because the stairs were in disrepair, the patio was cracked, the Hubbards were concerned about the children on the property, and because they thought they were replacing these features in kind, a permit, they didn't think they needed a permit, unfortunately. But we're here tonight to hopefully get the approval for the proposed addition, resolve some of these outstanding items with the commission. The commission also requested that I run stream stats. So there's a stream that runs along this property line here. So the stream itself, just so the commission is aware, it's not shown on the current USGS topographic map. I ran stream stats on the property. Stream stats calculated a relatively small watershed of 0.19 square miles, with really insufficient amount of stratified drift, approximately 7%. This is less than the 75% threshold. Stream stats does confirm that this stream is intermittent. So I'm just here tonight to present this new information to the commission. I'm requesting that they do allow these structures. I had the engineer calculate the amount of compact gravel, broken pavement that is within the 25 foot, and it shows to be 347 square feet. And I can essentially open it up to the commission with any questions or concerns. I have the aerials with me tonight if you want to take a look at that. Building permits, stream stats, I'm happy to go through that as well.
Does the concrete patio extend into the buffer as well?
I believe it extends just in this area here.
Because I
If
see
you can
it's
see my
labeled just
mouse.
to the, yeah, well, I can see just to below the pool outline, the circular pool outline, it says concrete patio. But I'm
Right.
not, what I do not recall is whether that goes all the way back to the back of the property.
No, it doesn't go in the back.
Carol,
Can I answer that?
Yes.
please.
Sure.
It doesn't go behind the pool. It goes to the side of the pool.
So
I'm
right
not
here.
good at reading this as good as you guys are. I mean, I can see my deck, I think.
Yes, this
It
is the
goes-
deck here,
I would say it goes to that deck,
right here.
but it definitely is not behind the pool. It's all grassed area that goes to the back.
It looks like the wall goes right off the property to the other property. The 119, right there, yeah.
Yes, I believe that you're correct, it does. But there was a wall there before, so it was replacing it in kind. And the neighbors were aware of that.
But just to be clear, that wall should not have been there without coming before us. I mean, I think you know that already.
That is correct. And in my package, you know, the homeowners are remorseful in terms of the pools and pulling the building permit. I know in a lot of towns, and maybe it wasn't this way in Wakefield at the time, but a lot of times it goes through all the different departments. They didn't know that we needed a permit for the above ground pool. Again, you're absolutely right. We should have gone through conservation. We needed the permit. unfortunately, one wasn't pulled. You know, I'm hoping that we can resolve any outstanding issues with the commission and move forward with the project if that's possible.
All right, Rebecca,
Yes.
what is your thoughts on this?
I think you guys should probably review it and write an order of conditions that considers all of the portions that should have been and are requested to be included now. So the stuff that they want to see now, and I would somehow work in the order, whether it's in the finding sections or some type of notation, but or write your orders such that you're reviewing it as a whole thing.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay. I do think that we should include everything, just even in the, like I said, in that finding section or something to that effect. Just because it'll clarify anything up in the future, and that way at least there's documentation that they may have missed it previously, but now you guys are checking it out now, and that way it kind of brings everything up to date. And anything that was outstanding, we should probably, I think you guys should just tackle it right now. And
Right, but Rebecca, how do we tackle something that's there? Other than, so what can we do about that? I don't know, replicate?
yeah, that idea.
I
Yeah.
don't want
Think
he
about,
wants me to join this. Listen to it.
yeah, what you can do to mitigate some of those encroachments with what space you've got now, I suppose is perhaps one of the ways you could look at it.
There's not a lot of space there.
Not a lot of options.
There really isn't.
I mean, you know, we're happy to work with the commission if the commission is open to that. You know, we could possibly propose some native plantings in this area, some wildlife friendly plantings, like some hybrid blueberry or winterberry.
But there's nothing on that side though. What's on that side? It goes down, right? I mean, there's a big drop off there. Where would you even plant it, Maureen?
Well, you're right about that. You know, we did the site visit. You know, I was thinking an area in here. Another option is maybe we put, you know, 4x4 posts so that there's no further encroachment, you know, heading towards the wetland area. We permanently demarcate an area. I'm just trying to think outside the box. I mean, we could put some wildlife friendly plantings back here.
I like the idea of the permanent demarking that because it just, there seems like this death by 1,000 cuts that's happened here, and needs to stop. But so two things that were on my mind were, one, the pool draining into the wetland. What was that? What was that was behind the pool? There was a drain that drained the water out.
Well, Jim pointed out that can't happen anymore, right?
Yeah. So that has got to be, and the other thing that we had talked about on the site visit was the, you know, there is some latitude in the, you know, the part of the driveway. It's really wide, and there looks like where the truck was parked in the driveway, that there looked like there was 5 or 6 feet of pavement that could come up and still facilitate all the uses that you would want of that, and reclaim a little bit of it, and maybe even provide an area where it could be, there's some plantings could be made. That would make me, because I do think that it looks to me like that driveway was the death by 1,000 cuts. There, you know, that there was a few feet added here, a few feet added there, and it just kept going and going. And I think some of it looked like it wasn't necessary based on the way that the truck was parked, that there was the opportunity to reclaim some of that and maybe do some improvements so that it had a definitive area that wouldn't be disturbed.
And you mean the area closest to the wetlands to reclaim?
Yes,
some-
yeah, that's exactly right. Where the truck was parked, there was an area to the right of the truck. You know, the truck was parked facing in, and it looked like there was a fair amount of area to the right of where the truck was parked. That, and I'm not talking like an entire width of a car, but I'm talking enough that we could reclaim some of it and then provide maybe some space to address what you're saying. Is that you were saying, I think Teresa, that there's no space to plant anything,
Right,
and maybe
there's nothing, yeah.
and that might provide just the very space. And I like the idea of the posts so that there just wouldn't be, you know, next time you pave it, another, you know, there goes a couple more feet gets added on.
Or a fence, or, I mean, a wildlife friendly
Hard to put a
fence.
fence up right next to you know, where the truck is parked. I think that's, you know, you swing the door open and you hit the fence. And but I do care about that for, you know, I don't know how does the driveway get cleared, by the way? Is it snow blowers or, you know, because that looks to me like that's, you think you run that down and you're just throwing that snow right into the wetland.
Are you asking,
Yes, please,
you're
Carol.
asking me how we do that?
Yeah.
Has it been plowed? Yeah, sometimes it goes in straight in. And do we snow blow it? Sometimes, yeah, shovel it, sometimes leave it.
Got it.
You know,
Mhm.
there's a pretty big drop off, big drop off on the other side of that. Yeah, I don't know.
Maureen, can you look at the option you had mentioned as far as planting some native wildlife friendly species somewhere that would make sense?
Sure, and I can talk to Carol about possibly pulling back some of that broken pavement as suggested by the commission. You know, doing some native shrubs for the area and some sort of permanent demarcation. I can do that.
Yeah.
All of that seems like a reasonable request.
Okay.
That would be responsive to my biggest concerns.
But the demarcation has to be more than just demarcation. There has to be something preventing.
Well, let's look at the proposal. Let's look at the
Yeah, there
proposal.
could be a fence,
Side.
post and rail fence, or
Right.
some boulders, or
Right.
What are you talking about putting in as a demarcation? What line are you trying to get? The 25-foot setback you're trying to locate, or the wetland line?
I think it's more along the lines of taking some of the, when we walk down the edge of the driveway, Jim,
Yeah.
that there's, it looked, I think we had talked about that as something practical that could be done, is that without really compromising the, you know, the hope for use of the driveway, that there could be some of that broken pavement reclaimed.
Right.
And that land could be repurposed in a way that would, one, you know, provide a place to plant, and also to some, and how to demarcate it is, I mean, I'd say why don't we let the applicant make a proposal and we see what we think, but they understand what we're looking for is something that would be more or less permanent.
Well, my problem is I want to make a recommendation though, as far as
Right.
where the line goes and how we demarcate it, because I don't think the fencing is a good idea, and I don't think wooden posts are a good idea.
What would you suggest, Jim?
granite bounds.
I would say
Boulders?
you take like the bounds that they put on the lots and stuff like that. You bury them down in the ground so that they're just above the surface, and it's always going to be there. So you understand what I'm
Like a meets and bounds marker, okay.
At what point? You put them at the 25-foot buffer line?
Well, that's
Jim?
what I was asking. What line are you trying to get to?
Well, I think it was more a practical thing when we were out there looking at where, you know, where vehicles were parked and what could be reclaimed without compromising. And so it was less relation to measuring to the wetland and more in relation to what could
No,
be without.
I understand, Peter. I think all of that sounds perfect.
But we were standing there, it looked pretty clear to me what could be done, I guess is what I'm saying. It's hard to say.
So
But
maybe
why not-
Maureen can do that as well. Come up with a plan for the planting, and come up with
Having the line be as close to the 25 foot as possible. Obviously, there's a garage there, right? So they can't be there. But we're looking for as much of the 25-foot buffer as possible.
Well, with the way I'm talking about, you could put these bounds just flush to the surface, and they're always going to be there. You might have to dust them off to see where they are, but you're not going to dig them up with the plow, and you're not going to make the yard so
And you think
tiny.
that'll prevent further usage back there, Jim, really?
What's that?
You think that will prevent using that area back there?
It's something you can always go back to and see it's gonna be there, not like the ones we did on Angham's property, the posts all rotted out, you don't know where the fence was. And it has to be some type of permanent marker, and if you don't have to put it up in the air, that's even better because it doesn't look bad and it still does its job of locating the line, so you can just go out there
Jim,
and look.
my only question is, I understand that's permanent, that's good, but how does that prevent usage of that area?
Well, if you put a fence up,
It prevents the unintended encroachment. It's not, obviously, I understand.
So these are all excellent suggestions. I can speak to Carol about it. You know, obviously this is a multi-generational home. There's a number of vehicles. So we'll definitely take a look at, you know, how much we can reasonably pull the gravel, broken pavement area back, install the bounds and do some plantings.
Thank you.
Can I ask real quick, what's behind the garage and the existing pool deck? Is that mowed lawn?
It's mowed lawn, but it's a
Very
slope
little.
to the wetland,
Yeah,
right?
it's so narrow, Rebecca.
Yeah, but
My recollection, there was a lot of junk
it's
down in
mowed
the
lawn. It
down
does
below too.
You know, one thing I say is it does facilitate travel back there, meaning that if it were just sort of, if it were wild and you really couldn't even get back there, that might be, again, a
Preferred
Deterrent,
solution.
right.
I mean,
then-
we can also put some plantings back there as well. That's
yeah, just so it would
that's
just,
an option.
May I add something? I know you were all here when the vegetation had all gone away, but I don't know if you've ever been here in the summertime. You cannot, it's like a jungle trying to keep both sides back. The back of the yard and the side of the yard, it grows in. I mean, really grows in. Maureen, you might know what that shrubbery is or whatever it is that's back there. All I know is it attracts a lot of bees. And you can kind of pull it out really easily. It doesn't really root well. I
The
don't know what it is.
jewel
I don't know plants, but
Mhm.
it is, the area fills in. You were all there when it was pretty open in the back and the side.
okay.
Does that matter anything?
I
It
mean,
might
it
be-
fills in, Carol, you know, there's always opportunity to improve it too, and maybe throw in
Oh,
a
I wouldn't
couple of
mind
high bush
improving.
blueberries and some winterberry and some
Yeah.
bird-friendly shrubs, so we can look at it.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I am all for whatever. That's not my point. I think what I was hearing was someone was saying that it was a area behind the pool or behind the shed, I'm sorry, the garage, not too big of an area, or it's big enough area or getting through. That was when you were there. Yeah, you're 100% right. But when you're in the spring, you're in the heart of the summer, it's almost like a walkway, a pathway. It grows that much into the yard. It's always been a struggle keeping it back.
Okay.
But yeah, so I'm not saying I'm not interested in planting anything. Anything would look better than what grows into the yard.
All right, so there are some options out there that Maureen, you'll be looking at and discussing with the Hubbards.
Yes.
And do you think you can have some suggestions for us by the next meeting, December 19th, or would you like to go further out?
I'd like to shoot for December 19th, if that's possible.
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah, we can keep you on the agenda for the 19th.
all right, that'd be great.
And ideally, you just have something to us by the Thursday prior to that meeting.
So the 14th, okay.
So let's see.
Yeah, just let me know when you can, if you need to continue, because sometimes if I put you first and it ends up with a gap. that we have to fill in. Or
Okay.
even if you get closer to the time and you're like, I'm not really sure, I can put you on last, and that way if you end up continuing, it won't matter as much. So just, yeah, just keep me informed of how you think it'll end up going, if you don't mind.
No problem. Will do. Thank
All
you.
right, thanks.
All right, anything else for us? Maureen, anything else for us?
No, that is it. Thank you for your time this evening.
All right, thank you, everybody.
For everybody.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Night now.
And I,
How do I get out of this now?
I don't know, I have to ask the computer girl. How did she get out of it?
Should be a red button. And then
We'll send Jimmy right over to help.
Okay, Bob.
That was a good one, Bob. That was
You got me, Bob. I'll get you back.
All right, wow, we're almost back on schedule. 8:17, I've got, next up, DEP 313-632, 60 Farm Street, Town of Wakefield, Permanent Building Committee, public hearing continued. This is the notice of notice of intent for the construction of the new high school. Who's gonna kick it off? Erin, I bet.
I think you guys made
Peter
good
this
progress.
time.
You guys made good progress without me last time. I'm tempted to just hand it right over to Peter.
Peter is ready to jump in.
He is. I just wanted to so I believe we left off that that you were pleased with most things, which I'm also thrilled about, and that we were hoping to look at potentially some special conditions pending Bill Renault's review.
Correct.
Great.
And we did receive the letter from engineering.
Great.
With the responses, to your responses. So, everything seemed in line with what we we're anticipating to get back. Rebecca, did you have any questions or anything that wasn't addressed with that letter from engineering?
I don't think so. I wasn't at the last meeting. So I thought, from what I understood, that everything was more or less sort of satisfied at the last meeting that I wasn't at. So I'm not entirely sure.
Okay. All right, Peter or Erin, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
No, we spoke to engineering and they told us they had sent you the letter, so we were glad that you received it. Because we haven't seen a copy of it. But it sounded like they were comfortable with all our responses. And so that was the direction from the commission, was to get that sign off. So we're just here tonight to really, like you said, walk through some conditions and provide any commentary as necessary.
Okay. Are there any additional comments or questions from the commission?
The memo from Tim Wilson just talked about some recommended conditions, I think, that we can put into our order of conditions.
Yes. But are there any other, I guess, questions or concerns from the commission prior to voting?
I had a question. We talked about the pervious pavement last meeting, and I asked what would be the possibility of putting grass in there instead of putting a pavement at all?
Which areas in particular, Jim? Any place it was pervious pavement?
Behind the school building.
Are you talking about the path?
Yeah, the path.
The path.
Yeah.
So we talked about last time the options being pervious pavement or standard pavement.
Right.
Which I guess, taking a step back, the purpose of that path, the path needs to be accessible, and it needs to have a portion that can handle an emergency vehicle. In the case of either an electrical emergency or a school emergency.
The path
So
isn't wide enough for that.
So the portion to the north, and I can pull up a plan if we need to, is 12 feet wide. And then it goes down to 6 feet wide for the rest for pedestrians, which is the
thought you
second
found-
purpose of the path, to provide accessible access from those neighborhoods
I
to the
thought-
northeast.
I thought last meeting you told me it was 3, it went from 6 to 3 feet.
If we did, that was misspoken because it's always been 12 to the north and 6 to the south.
Okay.
Can we pull that up and see and make sure we're all talking about the same area?
Sure.
He's pulling it up.
Um, Are we racing Peter to pull up a plan?
Oh,
I
I'm
don't know
pulling
if
it up
he's
right
gonna-
now. Sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, good.
Just was trying to find the right plan. So this is actually the let me, you guys all see that?
Yes.
So this
Yeah.
was actually the figure we presented last time. So I assume, Jim, you're talking about this area highlighted in red back here.
Yep, it doesn't look like it's 12 feet wide, but
So the area to the north, which is page right, you can see it's a little wider here.
yeah,
That's 12 feet, and then after this plaza meets it, this to
Yeah.
the south is 6 feet.
that's 6 feet.
And again, the purpose of that path is to provide, there's a connection actually here up to Wiley Street.
Yeah.
So it's an accessible path for students and any staff that happen to be coming that way. It provides interconnectedness between the academic commons and the outdoor commons.
Yeah.
And then to the north, it provides, it's gated, but it would provide emergency vehicle access for an ambulance that had to get back there to the auditorium, or WMGLD requested that because they have electrical infrastructure back there that in the case of an emergency, they'd have to
Yeah, no, I
pull a
understand.
truck
That-
around.
That makes sense. But where the path goes down to 6 feet, and personally, I just thought grass might be a good alternative, but it isn't, and I understand, but my question, I'm still saying, if it's 6 feet wide, do you get a vehicle down there even with 6 feet?
No, so the vehicular access that was requested is only the north half.
Okay.
Because that's where all the infrastructure is, and then an ambulance could park there and they could access the school there. To the south is just for pedestrian access.
Okay. All right, so the grass is not a good idea, okay. What?
Not if it's
I
gonna be walked
have
on a
one other-
lot.
What's that?
I would say if it's gonna be walked on a lot, it's gonna be a mess quickly.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
also an accessibility issue if there's
Yeah,
anyone.
that's true. Yeah, you're right, Haley.
So the other thing is, the only other question I had was around the school itself, there's these drainage areas. And they look like they're piped back into the major trunk line that we have there, draining the area. What are those drainage areas for? They're all over the place.
I'll pull up the grading plan just to make sure we're looking at the right thing. Around the school?
Yeah, it's like it'll say like on it says DA or
Oh, AD,
what does it say?
like these circles with
Yeah.
the squares in them.
Oh, that's what area drain, that's what it stands for, right?
Yeah.
AD 4-1. Why are these area drains all around the school?
So those are just little like yard drains, some people call them. They're just like smaller catch basins. And those just provide drainage for the landscape areas around the school because it's usually a little flatter. And so you pitch away from the school, and then rather than having the water just sit there or sit on the plaza and freeze, you would pitch it off the plaza and then it could drain into these yard drains.
And so these yard drains are gonna be like in the middle of a grassed area, or they're,
Some of them are, yeah, we have some that are in, plaza, some in pavers. We try to keep them in landscape areas just because it looks nicer. And
Yeah.
then you just can put either a beehive on them, which would keep debris out, or you could put a flat top grate so that they can mow over top of them. It just provides drainage to get the water away from the school. And in the wintertime, if the ground's frozen, it helps because then the water's not ponding as much.
what do they look like? I can look at it later, I guess. All right. Okay.
Yeah, there's a detail in here, but
Yeah.
they're really just like 2 foot wide. They're like miniature catch basins, basically, if you want to think of it like that way.
Mhm.
Just a precast structure with a grate on top of it.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. It does.
Okay.
Any other questions from the commission? Or concerns? Any questions from the public? I do not see any questions from the public. Would, we're at a point where we could close the public hearing. Realizing that we would not be able to accept any additional information after that point. So would somebody like to make a motion to close the public hearing?
No one wants to do this.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Any discussion?
I would like to add for the record that I still think the turf field is a bad idea, for many reasons.
Okay.
So you want to say all in favor, Bob?
I am going to say that.
Okay.
Just waiting to see if anybody else had any comments to add to that or additional. All right. All in favor? Closing public hearing. Ken,
Yes.
Kaylee,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Peter.
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
and I also vote yes. All right. It's 8:30. Do we want to talk about any conditions right now? From a timing
Just a
standpoint?
reminder, I just want to remind you guys, I have to have the paperwork dated within 21 days.
Right, and the
Okay,
next
from
meeting
today.
is on the 19th.
It's in 2 weeks.
Yep.
So I mean, it might be best if you guys at least toss out some thoughts or concerns about some conditions that you're thinking about, and if you want to fine tune them at the next meeting, that would be okay. But maybe not save everything until the next meeting, or at least take a quick
What
little.
is the meeting? What is the meeting we have next Wednesday? I have on my calendar.
That's my question too.
That's the stormwater, presentation.
So is that not is it a meeting of our commissioner or is it a meeting that we would be watching another, I'm sorry.
It's in person, Peter.
Okay. Okay.
We can, I guess we can start by looking at the recommended conditions from the engineering department.
Yes,
At least knock that off, right?
numbers 13 through 15, right?
Somebody have that document handy? I'm looking for it.
I printed it out. I'm so,
I found it here. It's
The date on it?
this was emailed Friday, December 1st at 12:23. And there are, it looks like 3 suggested conditions. For the soil condition to be verified by engineering. The next one is providing review and approval as-built drawings in CAD and PDF.
Can you pull it up and share your screen?
Actually, I just found it.
Okay.
Yeah, I can share it.
I think I'm already sharing it.
Oh, you got it. Here it is.
And it's quick.
Yeah, I think number 13 is an easy one. I think the engineering department requires that anyway. So that's certainly easy to put in there. I don't think there's a problem with the CAD and PDF forms making their life easier. And environmental monitor, we tend to include those on.
Anyway, right. Okay.
Anyway.
These are all fine. Does anyone want to pull up a standard order of conditions? Because we have to we'll just have to go through that. I mean, I don't know. Rebecca, do you have any notes, either your own notes or from Elaine, about any special conditions that we added here?
I don't have any notes on that, and I don't think Elaine does either. One of the things, though, as we were just talking about the area drains, I think that's something that everyone should relook at. I don't remember off the top of my head what their landscaping and maintenance plan is long term. I know it was included at one point in time. I had looked at it. We should probably all revisit that. Those area drains, they connect right into the culvert in the stream in the back there. So you just want to be mindful of what that would collect. I do believe that information was probably, and they might be able to pull it up faster than I can. I know that I've seen it at one point in time. I don't know if it was probably in the stormwater report as one of the plans that they included in that, whether it's probably the long-term pollution prevention plan might be in there. They might be better able to tell me that, but I think that's what you guys should be looking at, something like that, or where that drain goes directly into the stream. That would be something that you'd probably want to take a peek at. Reread that, their maintenance, and of course the use of the sand and salt. Just go over where they plan on using it and whether or not you have any thoughts on that. Snow storage areas, I'm sure that was included somewhere as well.
But again, why do we go through those conditions? There are some those conditions. We now have some options on how to complete them. Don't we have to? We have to go through that in order to do that. So we can start on that now, and we can continue on the 19th. But someone has to pull up those a standard order.
Yeah, I'm looking for those too.
I can email it to you, so it's at the top of your email if you want.
Yeah, I think I might have it saved to my desktop also.
If you could do that, Rebecca, I'd appreciate that.
I think Bob's on it. He can be faster than me.
Well, Bob pulls that up. Can I offer maybe not additional information, but maybe a clarification to the drains that are on the plans?
Sure.
They don't discharge directly to the wetland necessarily, but they discharge similarly to how, the current discharge patterns of the site are. They're piped through the culvert and then it discharges to the wetland. As far as drainage calcs and areas goes, that was part of what engineering reviewed. And since it's just lawn areas, they don't require TSS removal. So that was all kind of reviewed as, I believe, as part of the purview of engineering.
Yeah, I'm just saying the area drain, like for instance, the ones that we were looking at in the back, right? So it gets in the mini catch basin, goes on a pipe, and that pipe goes to that culvert in the back, which is a culverted stream leaving that BVW. So in essence, it discharges directly in the stream. So that's why I would just want them to know no, it doesn't.
It does. Yeah. No.
Yeah. No, that's what I thought. That's what I'm just saying. They want to look at what the maintenance is around those area drains. Like I said, I'm pretty sure you guys included that in
I see.
the long-term pollution prevention plan.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I've read it before already. but that's what they should be reading, knowing that those area drains. So look at that area. What's the maintenance that
Okay.
it's in the plan already?
That makes so much more sense the second time. Thank you so much.
I'm sorry if I didn't say it
I'm
clearly.
sorry.
No, I probably didn't say it right. But that's what I meant.
Okay, okay, that makes sense. And if I know oftentimes, commissions condition salted sand use as well. We made that figure.
Yeah, that's
so
what I
maybe the
thought.
condition can refer to the figure.
And that might be that might be the right thing. And you may have presented that at the last meeting. There's a possibility you did it a couple meetings ago, and I just don't have it at top of mind. So I think that's when I was saying is like that's something that they should review and ensure that they fine tune that for next time if that's what they want to reference.
I'm having a hard time finding an electronic version. I just have a printout. I don't know. Ken.
Rebecca, if you could email that, that would be great.
You bet. Just give me a sec.
Yeah, I just have a hard copy here. I know I've got it somewhere. I just can't find it.
Is this the right version?
Go down. Keep going. No, that's an old
Sorry.
one.
Sorry.
It's all right.
We're looking for the standard one that we finished with in August.
Yes.
Got it.
Okay, please share.
Okay. Where'd it go?
I'm so mad you beat me at that. I just hit send when you pulled it up.
There it is.
Yes.
Just got a file open.
Wait. Anything in the pre-construction, anything in the general ones? Probably not.
Yeah, there's a section down further where we have the
Pre-construction
variables.
conditions are pretty straightforward, right?
Yeah, these ones are all straightforward. Then we get to there we go.
Erosion control. Soil stockpiles within X feet of resource areas.
As another thought, just before we finalize it in 2 weeks, if that's what ends up happening, maybe a good review would be 200 Quantapowhat had a lot of good during construction conditions that were included in there. We can peek over those and just see if there's anything that you wanted that we may have forgotten or something that worked well. I just feel like that was a pretty big project, similar enough, and there were a lot of really good conditions written in that. So I can recirculate that. Again, just reread it and look during construction conditions and just see if anything jumps out at you. And I'm going to circulate it in just a minute. You don't have to do it tonight, but just have that for next time if there's anything that you want to include or something like that. I'll do it right now.
So in light of that, should we hold off on doing this or
No, I don't think so. I think you should go through some of those the fill in the blanks.
Alrighty.
Yeah. It'll be your draft, and then like I said at the next meeting, after you've read through a couple different things that you should read through, if there's anything else that you want to tailor, add, subtract, change wording of, that we'll do that final copy. And that'll give me enough time to get it out the door within that 21 days.
So in 38, shouldn't it be relatively close? Shouldn't it be like 10 feet? I mean, if not closer?
They're gonna be working very close in the back. you
Right,
know,
but we don't want, no stockpiling.
Correct.
So,
Yeah, they
Wanna
can
say
work
5
better without
feet? What-
stockpiling.
They did provide a plan showing stockpiling areas at medians and grassy areas, so we should try not to go against that plan.
well, we can just, why don't we refer to that plan and just say stockpiling of soil and
Well-
materials are only allowed as shown on that plan. What about that idea?
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll go by whatever the closest is and say no closer than however close that one is on the plan.
Oh, I'm sorry, I might have been talking about the snow stockpile plan.
Say it again, Ken?
I think I was talking about the snow stockpile plan. That was clear.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. My fault.
Yeah, not the snow, not the snow.
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Okay, so now we're back to how many feet? 5 feet? 10 feet? What do we normally say? I don't know what the normal is for that.
I mean, it depends on the conditions, the elevations and slopes and
But I'm thinking of that back, for example, that pathway in the back that we just looked at. Now, it's not really big enough to stockpile anything on, but
no. But this is a construction stockpiling.
right, good point. And right
Interesting.
now, that's just the feet. That's just the track. So they can do a lot of stockpiling there.
well, I guess I know we talked about this before, but there really isn't much coming. The grades are pretty flat, right? So
Yes,
it's not like they're bringing in lots of fill or blasting on the site, creating piles of rubble or anything like that. So whatever does get stockpiled, if it needed to be, it's easily contained with appropriate erosion and sediment controls. I don't know, 20 to 25 feet should, I would think, be plenty reasonable.
mm-hmm.
But field conditions could, warrant something different than that, depending. Um,
Well, I
it'd be
mean,
more
consistent with
excavating than
our
anything else,
buffer. Go ahead.
right? There's gonna be more excavating than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
For the new drainage and foundation and all of that. I forget, is there a basement or below grade level to the school?
There won't, but can I offer some clarification? So on our
Yes.
on our site preparation plans, they include no soil stockpiling within 100 foot of
100
the
feet,
wetland.
wow.
It
Okay,
says
that
100
works.
feet. So I was frantically trying to find that reference because I didn't want something to be conditioned that's different than what's on the approved plans.
Right.
No storage of machinery is allowed within 100 feet of the wetland. Is there a mechanism where in the event the contractor needs it, can we come back to you and get some sort of administrative approval for that if it's shown on a plan? I'm advocating now for a contractor because this is a tough site with little laydown space.
We don't have 100 feet is a limit of our jurisdiction, so that's saying you'll comply with the act. Right. Well, and maybe that's all you want.
Well, the
Yeah.
plan says 100 feet.
Okay, that works. All right, want to scroll?
Sorry, yep. Next one is landscape debris. This is operating now.
Yeah.
Landscape debris store, dumping.
Yeah, we don't want to, obviously, anything dumped over the fence line into the resource area. There's not much space there anything over that fence would technically be in the resource area.
Wouldn't
Yeah.
it make sense for them if they did have landscape debris or whatever to just get across the street to the pit?
Yeah, so the town will be responsible for cutting, the grass and all of that. So that's what they do. They just bring their trucks to the pit after they've cut whatever they've cut. There really is no place on the site that you would be putting landscape debris.
So do you word it that way, or would you just say the 100 feet?
Yeah, we can only do within our jurisdiction, right? So 100 feet would be it. I just had a thought. What if they had some sort of composting project or something they were doing in science or something like that? How would that be handled? That could include some leaves or clippings or other type of things of that nature.
I would think that would be contained though, would it not?
Could be contained in a container or just a fenced-in area or something of that nature. But if we just say within 100 feet within our jurisdiction, then that's probably the best way to approach it. Again, the town's going to cut the grass and everything else. They're taking it off.
So 46,
Yeah,
So
the
for-
question on that one I have is how close is the building and what kind of pesticides are proposed for use inside the building? Or around its perimeter?
well, the building is pretty close in the back. You saw that.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I mean, it's right on the edge of the 25-foot buffer.
Do we normally think of this as being inside the building? Wow.
Well, I don't know.
I don't think so.
I'm new to this, Teresa, so. Is this only outdoor applications?
Usually that's the way we've
Yes.
Does the town
considered
use,
it.
does the town use pesticides or herbicides on its land generally?
I mean, it could
do you-
be, I wouldn't be surprised if, there's traps, rat traps or mouse traps or things of that nature on different
Yeah.
parcels in different places. Hopefully not, poisons.
Could that also be 100 feet?
I don't think so, because the school building is a lot closer than 100 feet.
Right, but is it necessarily needed to be using chemicals like that? Could they not find
They may
more
use them around the perimeter.
Yeah, there are landscaped and grassed areas. That might be in the O&M plan. What their intention is. Could be right in the O&M plan. Erin, is that type of stuff covered in your O&M?
Can I help for a second here?
Sure.
Thank you.
The state of Massachusetts requires a pesticide plan to be filed with the state pesticide board for any schools that will be using herbicides, pesticides, insecticides. They have to file that with the state and get approvals before they can do it. And that would be inside and outside of the building. You obviously have jurisdiction to say that they can not use them in the 100-foot buffer. But the entire property itself is subject to the jurisdiction of the pesticide board, because it is a school, because children are present, will be present there.
That's good to know. So the pesticide board is part of Department of Health, or it is, okay.
Would we want
Yes,
to say, Bob, going to your point about the vermin, that there would be no storage of any kind of debris in the back of the building? And because that would be something that would be that could have an adverse effect on the habitat.
Yeah, I think we've said no storage or dumping of the debris within 100 feet, Peter.
I'm not talking about debris. I'm talking about anything. Not, you can't have a dumpster back there, for example.
The dumpsters were located on the plans.
They're in the front. Yep. I just didn't know if it was worth
Yeah.
saying. You made the point that you're right up against the wetland, and if whatever you have back there is going to be exposed to, it's going to be right next to the habitat.
Yeah, so I'm kind of missing your point, I guess.
I guess my point would be that you were talking about if you store, if you had a dumpster out back and you have animals in the woods, for example.
Yeah.
I mean, it's right up against the back. I mean, I guess
You'd have to add a condition here, Peter.
we had talked about things like the back of the building is not gonna, it's gonna have non-pervious. It's not gonna be, it's not gonna be mechanically plowed, I guess. Isn't we talk about there would, or no, but there would not be any, I'm sorry, there will not be any chemicals or anything put back there to deal with snow, right? That's
Right.
okay. I just was thinking about the sensitivity of not doing anything back there because of its immediate adjacency.
Yeah, and to what Megan had just told us, about condition 46, that they have to apply to the state anyways, if something were to be recommended to be used. And the town again would be responsible for whatever landscaping or maintaining of landscaping occurs on the property.
All right.
So I don't know. I guess I'm struggling with this one. Do we put something in there with a limit, or leave it open? So I guess, go ahead.
I was gonna say, have you read through their maintenance of the lawn areas and yard areas that they included in the NOI?
Well, that was one of the questions I did ask a few minutes ago about, is this covered in the O&M?
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. I don't
It's in one
remember.
of the appendices.
Yeah, I did go through it, but I don't remember. It's been a while.
So maybe that's worth going through again and then discussing that condition again.
Yeah, that's gonna also impact 47.
Yeah.
Good news is
All-
turf field won't
all of
require any
the,
fertilizer.
all of the insecticides that are provided in the O&M are organic options, non-chemical options.
Okay, great.
So I don't know if that would specifically apply, just because, as Megan said, we don't anticipate them using any of these chemical pesticides at a school site.
So we could actually strike this condition or reword it in a way that says only organic pesticides would be used within 100 feet. Or something to that nature, right, Peter?
You talking to me? I
I
was
know.
less
Peter
concerned.
Reebok, sorry, I was
Yeah,
the
okay.
other Peter.
Wrong, Peter.
Um,
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know if we specifically talked to the school about their use of pesticides. I don't think that came up in any of our meetings with them. So I can't speak to what they typically use, but I know what's listed in our O&M
Okay.
are specific products that we encourage for school sites.
So we can reference the O&M for this condition.
Do we want to limit proximity to the resource area at all? Or is that pushing it? Given how close the building is to the resource area.
You do the limit as something smaller, like 10 feet,
Do that.
just so it's not immediately hitting the area.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's an option. I do want to see the exact wording in the O&M.
Well, we
Yeah,
can
regarding-
leave it open for tonight and come back to it next.
Yeah.
And conclude.
For both
For
46
46 and
47.
47, yeah.
Yeah.
Snow storage on 48.
Yeah,
We
so
approved a snow storage plan previously, so I think we would just measure whatever the closest one is, you know?
Yeah.
yeah, that's reasonable.
I guess question for the applicant's team, are they planning to use sodium chloride as a de-icer on the site?
Not in the back, because they're not going to use any de-icers on the pathway.
That's right. Okay.
And then the front, are they out of the 100 feet in the driveway area? I think they're that might even be out of the 100-foot buffer, the driveway. Again, the
Really?
plows
Yeah,
are gonna go down.
there's a small portion of vehicular driveway that's actually in the wetland A to the far north. There's like a row of 15 spaces or so, but that's the only vehicular area that's within a 100-foot buffer.
Okay.
What's the plan for de-icing chemicals on that kind of area, Peter?
I believe that was, I'm trying to find, we provided a memo that was written by Tim. Forget, I'm blanking on his last name.
Wilson?
Tim Wilson.
O'Brien, Tim O'Brien.
Oh, Tim O'Brien. Sorry, there's too many Tims in Wakefield is what I'm finding. And I believe for the second hearing, we provided that. And he had said they use a blended ice product containing calcium chloride, potassium chloride, and sodium chloride. And that is what he uses on the pedestrian walkways. And then the DPW actually manages the vehicular roadways.
Okay.
So I guess the question is that small area, the 15 spot area, how far away is that from the resource area? Because that would be our threshold for this condition.
I can scale it or right now if that helps. Or
Yeah.
if you want to keep moving along and
Yeah, no, if you
follow
want to
up.
scale it, we'll keep moving, but if you want to kind of scale it, just give us an idea.
Okay.
You know, if it's 50 feet away and that's,
I will say it is a curbed area. It's so it won't have runoff directly into the wetlands. So it's not like the path on the back. You know, so it's a vehicular area with curbing.
So that will drain
Right, it'll go through pre-treatment prior to discharge to the culvert. But it's 55 feet from the closest, so it's definitely outside of the 50-foot snow
Right, so if we-
storage
yeah. So if we
requirements.
threw 50 feet in there,
Yeah,
we'd be safe. For 49, condition 49.
well, they're at 55, so.
And really that 49, I think we talked about this before, it really should be no chloride based product.
Mhm.
Sodium,
Right.
potassium, magnesium, and not just sodium.
Agreed. Well, we can amend it to say that no chloride-based deicers shall be used within.
Right. Because what's the point if you say no sodium, but then you go with potassium? Potassium a little bit better.
Well, I mean, they've got calcium, right? We've got calcium right below it, Bob.
Yeah. Calcium, potassium, or magnesium are better choices than sodium, but they're still all chloride-based products, and they pose most of the same issues.
Chlorides all pose the issue, right?
Yeah, they'll, not good for wildlife, vegetation, or concrete for that matter. All right. That's it then, right?
What Rebecca referred to.
Oh,
as
there's the other section, right?
This stuff needs to be added in because we obviously are going to want us and the NIPD's NOI, the stormwater prevention plan. And approvals to the prevention stormwater plan.
I did send you guys that order for 200. And it has all of this covered in it. It's got some good language. You guys want to peek at that at some point.
Do we still have the as-built requirement in here somewhere? We certainly want an as-built.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's up front, Bob.
Okay. Rebecca,
I want to make a suggestion and you can respond. I guess one thought I had is that with the information you have so far and looking at the 200 quantum power order conditions, would you be in a position to prepare a draft that you can send to us that we could review prior to the meeting?
Sure. I mean, I can always do that. I can highlight some of the conditions, either from the or from the other document that I think either is worded better or not included. I could certainly do that and put it together.
I think that would just make our review easier, but
Sure.
I understand your time constraints, Rebecca. I just don't know whether or not you could have, I think that would make our job much easier.
Sure.
So, but I just don't know if you have time to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll bump something else. I can do that.
Do others think that would be helpful for?
Oh, definitely, very helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. Bob, here, 43B covers your as-built.
Perfect. All right. Anything else we need to talk about with this order without comparing to the 200 corner power? I guess not.
We'll refer to that and come back.
Yeah. All right, so we made some progress. We'll take a look at other conditions we've utilized at another project and see if we want to apply them here or not. We'll have a chance to look at those over the next couple of weeks. And we can continue this discussion to the 19th. And hopefully have it wrapped up. That'll be 14 days.
Yeah, we won't have another meeting to.
Yeah.
Have to have it wrap it up.
Yep. Yep. All right, anything else on this one?
Not tonight.
All right, I guess that's all for the high school discussion tonight.
Thank you so much.
Right.
Thanks.
It's been a pleasure, and we'll be working with you, I know, throughout construction. So I thank you again.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night.
Thanks all.
But I'm losing my voice here.
Don't talk so much.
Huh? I got sick, and then I went and got my flu shot and COVID booster at the same time, despite multiple people saying don't do it. Got a fever of 102. Thursday, Friday, Saturday from the double vaccine. I'm like, oh man, why'd I do it?
That'll teach you.
Yeah. I learned my lesson. Listen to everybody who told me don't do both at the same time.
Don't do
Especially
both
me.
because you were sick, or don't
Yeah,
do both?
yeah, I was
Oh,
sick.
because
I
you were
did
sick to
both.
begin with, right?
Well, I was just coming down with something. And yeah, I got them both, and yeah, it wasn't. I broke ribs a couple weeks ago too, and so that all combined. It
Oh
hasn't been a
no,
good,
Bob,
it hasn't been a good
goodness.
few weeks.
Right, yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah. No kidding. Falling apart. Ah,
So we're
So I
back
guess
to we're back to this
we're not-
tree over here, right?
What are you trying
Yeah,
for
sorry, I
something?
don't want to push agendas or anything. I just figured it popped
No,
up.
Ken, that's good.
So,
So this
you know,
is the
look-
plan that was filed. that we
yeah, look
approved.
at all the plantings
question
they're
was,
adding
yeah.
to the site. There's nothing coming down on the lot right now. It's clear.
Right.
So how I don't understand how is it not shown as coming down, right? I mean, this plan is faulty.
Well, that one tree isn't shown. Is it? Is it?
No, it's
I see
not.
something. No, there is something. Yeah, right there. There it is. That's it.
Where?
It's highlighted in the red circle. It's faint. Existing tree is
Where? Where is the existing tree? Oh my
That's
God!
it.
You can't. You will barely even see it. Oh my God!
it's there.
I do see it.
So my eyes still work. The rest of me's failing, but my eyes work.
But there's obviously tons of planting on the property. right?
Yes. I mean, none of us are going to replace the canopy potentially that tree is providing, but it more than offsets what our tree policy would be for taking that tree if they need to.
Yes. So does that mean we're okay with telling them it's okay to remove?
That would be my suggestion.
Yes, I agree.
Are you replacing anywhere? I mean, I know
Well, they're
the,
replacing with all this other
yeah,
stuff.
okay.
But you could also add, they could make a donation to the Habitat Replacement Fund, since it is another tree that's coming down.
Good idea.
$639.29.
Yes. Just about. Kids have to eat.
Well, don't they have the option though?
They do.
Yes.
So I don't think you can say you have to put into the fund. I think you have to give them the option.
No, but, right, I think it should be one or the other, not just taking what is going to be planted as a replication for this other tree. That's all I meant.
Yeah, I'll tell me as that option.
So where would he, if you wanted to plant a new tree, where would you plant it?
Zoom out. Front yard. Side yard.
Well, the front yard probably has trees
Street
already.
tree.
Town makes you
A
put
street tree.
trees up. Yeah, street tree.
I mean, the street tree could be in the buffer zone still. Yeah, keep going. Go up a little bit more. Yeah, there's a couple. I mean, Put it way over there and tucked away in the corner. I don't know. It's up to you.
I mean, is that still his property technically along the edge of that wall on the other side? Could he just put another one a little bit further up?
It may wrap around. I can look it up.
Is there any way you can do something that would enhance the BBW instead of putting a tree out in the circle?
Jim, we're reducing the heat during the climate crisis.
Okay. Just have Bob breathe on him.
Yeah, no kidding.
Are you gonna vote on this so we can move on to the wetland bylaw?
Oh, you're
So
asleep.
are we offering them the option to do either or?
Well, that's our policy, I guess,
Yeah, it's
right?
already in the it's already there. So what do we need to vote on? Whether to
So
take it?
they can remove it, but they have, because it's a live
Yeah.
tree, they have to follow the tree policy, right?
It-
Isn't
They
that-
just, yeah,
It looks like the lot wraps all the way around the circle. I don't know what's on the other side. I don't know if it's grass all the way around the circle. Do you guys want to look?
Right now, there's just grass around the circle, but I don't know whether or not the town of Wakefield actually owns, 5 feet in if they took if they have the a sidewalk ownership there. But if you on the lot itself, there's no sidewalk; it's just grass. I think.
But there's a proposed sidewalk on that drawing with street trees.
Looks like there are street trees already there. I think those street trees are existing.
Yeah, they're existing. Those are
Yeah,
shown.
there you go.
And you can see the
Oh, and
BBW
Oh, yeah.
has.
And there is
is
I was wrong. There is a
plenty.
sidewalk. Looks like there
Yeah.
is a sidewalk there.
What's that little patch of grass over on the other side? Plop a tree in there. Yeah, over there. Well, it's his option. I mean,
All right, so does somebody like to make a motion to
Yes.
allow him to take the tree and follow the tree policy? Is there a
Jim
second?
just made that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Ken,
Yes.
Haley,
Yes.
Jimmy,
I want to be first on this list sometime.
I go alphabetical.
Yes.
By first name.
Yes.
So alphabetical, not even
Yeah.
correctly.
It's been a
Paul,
curse of mine for a long
Yes.
time.
Peter,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
and I also vote yes. Sometimes I go reverse order. Doesn't help you, Jimmy, but
No.
Start calling him Frank. Then he'd be first.
oh yeah, I'm moving right to the front of the line. All right, so that's that. So next, Mac model wetland bylaw review. I was looking at that chart of all the towns and bylaws. There's some interesting things towns have done.
are you looking at the map that shows which towns have it and which ones don't?
Now, I looked at the spreadsheet that shows all the ones that have it, and then the criteria, whether they included isolated wetlands, additional protection, or additional protection for vernal pools,
Yeah,
things of that nature. Where they've gone above and beyond the Wetlands Protection Act.
well, it has to, right? It
I
has
mean,
to-
but yeah, in that case, it's kind of way above with the isolated wetlands and vernal pools.
I think that's what most of them include.
Well,
I
I
suppose-
it was like more of the 25 no disturb or 50 no disturb, things like that, I thought, but
Yeah.
Did you look at
let's-
the paperwork that the bylaw review attorney sent? He sent the Concord bylaws. They're very simple. I think that is a good starting point.
That was today,
And you
right?
said that we got that today.
Yes.
I have not seen that yet.
Yeah. So the email came from, it says Concom. So Haley, you must have sent that, yeah?
Correct.
You sent it today at what time?
I think it was around 3.
I see it. 3:25.
Yes, Concord wetland. Okay, hang on. All right, I'll share it. Oh, somebody's got it. And beat me
But
to
there's
it.
both a bylaw and then regulations? It's interesting.
Yes. So it also gives performance standards.
What do you want to look at?
So
Actual
do you
bylaw.
have to include? Basically, you have to include everything that currently is in the Wetlands Protection Act, plus everything above it.
Correct.
You just can't put the things above it because you have to list everything else too.
Yes. Because that's all the reasoning for the protection.
Hmm.
And then the enhanced protection comes with its own performance standards, mitigation. And most towns have a filing fee as well for the wetland bylaw. So you'd have to think about that. I'm kind of on the fence on that. I don't know, Rebecca would have a better idea of that time-wise. I mean, it's a lot of overlap in terms of review. They would be reviewed at the same time as an NOI. So I don't know how she would feel about that.
About what part? The fee?
Yeah, if you think it's necessary for the wetland bylaw.
Depends if you want the conservation department to work more hours or not. I do think that the fee hasn't changed in a really, really long time.
No,
I
having
don't know if,
having a separate fee for the bylaws.
yeah,
Over the Wetlands Protection Act fees.
yeah, yep. No, I know. I'm just saying that the fees haven't changed in a long, for the state fees haven't changed
Right.
in a long time. And
And other towns have fees for different reviews, for certificates of compliance, for RDAs.
yeah.
So I don't know how you feel about that either.
I suppose
But
we probably did a bunch of examples. I mean, I don't think it's a bad idea,
Mm-hmm.
and based on the fact that it would take additional time, right? There's another layer, although it's not overwhelming, and we kind of do it anyway, but
Yeah, and it seems like a lot is overlapping. I mean, something to think about. And I did reach out to the attorney to ask if the commission did enact a wetland bylaw. I think they're proposing to do the codification of the zoning bylaws at the Springtown meeting, I think. So if the commission enacted a wetland bylaw at that same town meeting, would they also then be able to take over the open space bylaw under the wetlands bylaw? Because that was the impetus for all of this. And also, I'm curious whether the open space bylaw can be deleted altogether, where it's pretty much superfluous to the Wetlands Protection Act, regardless of whether a wetland bylaw is approved.
What do you mean by the open space bylaw?
That's the one that's under the zoning.
Yeah, that's just saying that's the buffer. I mean,
right, but it has nothing to do with the zoning board of appeals. There's
no, I was just curious as to why you called it the open space. That's all.
what it's called, the open space bylaw.
That one provision in the zoning code is called a bylaw, really?
It's a bylaw, yep.
It's called the open, oh, okay, I'm sorry, okay. I just want to make sure we're talking about the same thing.
Yep.
So I'm not sure I understand your question. You're saying that if the zoning code is amended, right, to take that out, then we're home free, right?
Well, I don't know if they would want to get rid of it altogether. I mean, there is also cluster development too, so I don't know if this is just a bylaw that is unnecessary to have in the code. Because I don't know when it's ever been used. You know, I know they talk about low impact development. I don't know that they do it specifically under a direct bylaw, but there is a cluster development bylaw.
Mhm.
So I don't know that the open space bylaw is even necessary. And it's jurisdictional to the commission, so it doesn't, it's something that apparently was enacted more than 30 years ago. It was done in virtually every town, and it's like a boilerplate. So it's something that's been on the books, but has never really been looked at.
So what are we looking at right now on the screen?
This is
not.
That's
this
the
is
MAC. I'm sorry. So
Oh, the
I guess
MAC.
a question I have is, well, I haven't done it yet. I'm sorry, but how does the MAC model bylaw compare to Concord's bylaw?
It's a lot more wordy. I think the Concord bylaw could be tweaked, but I think the shorter the better.
Concord is wordier or?
No,
Yeah.
no.
Oh,
Concord is a lot shorter.
okay.
And it was enacted in 2010, so it may need to be, maybe it needs to be broadened in some ways, but the
It was,
MACC,
it was amended in 2013.
yeah. But the
Was it-
MACC, a lot of them are very lengthy. And I think that when you're trying to get it enacted on the town meeting floor, I think it's difficult when it's, you know, copious amounts of information.
Did I
Yeah.
see fines in this one?
Mm-hmm.
That's under the model one, which they do not recommend fines anymore.
Right, we've
But
gone
that,
that
that
route
wouldn't be
before.
something that would be included. I
Yeah.
don't think,
So the Concord one did not have fines. It was
No.
the model. Okay.
right.
Yeah, I've not looked at this Concord one yet.
But you could also have a performance bond, which is something you talked about before too.
Right.
Yep.
We've actually had a couple projects that had bonds.
Right, right.
How are you able to do that? Under what authority could you get a bond?
It wasn't done under the commission.
Okay, so I was
Yeah,
like,
we-
if we have no authority to do that, right?
No. What are you talking about?
The
What
bond,
wasn't done?
bond. I think there was, I think it was, the only one I know of might have been the old Montrose Wood subdivision, and but it was given
It
to,
was given $50,000. They were required to give $50,000 for the maintenance of that bridge.
yeah, there was
But-
something, but it's given to like, DPW or something. I'm just trying to remember the entity who held it. I can't remember, but wasn't,
Well, it got spent by the town though. They didn't use it for what they were supposed to. They just used the 50,000. That was supposed to accrue interest so that they had money to do any repairs on that river stream crossing.
So
And mon-
just to move this along, I mean, look, writing a bylaw. I know we have examples of the MACC and the town of Concord, but that, we're not going to be able to do that right now. That takes some time and work. So I'm just trying to think how we can move this along, because someone has to put pen to paper and draft it for us to review. I mean, and again, we're not doing that now.
Right. I don't think it's
At
a giant
9:25, right.
Right. I don't think it's a giant mountain to climb, but it's been something that's been kicked down the road.
No, absolutely. No, I think we all agree it should be done. And what's the timing on this, Judy? We have to, in order to meet this spring requirement?
There'd have to be 2 public hearings, and then the warrant is closed like a month before the town meeting.
So
Two
we got,
But I
we
think,
got,
I think the timing works out, because if they're going to do the codification of the zoning bylaws at the spring town meeting, and I'm not 100% sure if they're going to be ready for the spring town meeting, but that's the time, if you want to move some of these bylaws that are under zoning that should be under conservation, that seems to be the time to do it. It's going to be all the same conversation, so you're going to capture the same audience.
Yeah.
I like that. I like what you just said about capturing the same audience.
Because it's
And
gonna make
actually,
more sense
if we're
when it's,
taking it off of, if you're taking it off of the zoning because it's being put on ours, it sort
Right.
of makes it look a little bit more like a package deal. So you're
right,
thinking,
yes, yes. And it's streamlining the permitting process. That's a huge portion of this.
yes, and that's right. And we can't, to the extent we can be efficient, we should. So
Right.
let's talk about, so why don't we, who just mentioned before that we had a chart with examples, you know?
The Mac newsletter that came out for December has a link in it. And you can go, there's a spreadsheet link. You can see every town's summary of every town's bylaw, basically, is what it is.
I'd like to, that would be a good thing to all look at beforehand, just so we
There's
can see.
200 something towns that have bylaws in Massachusetts, and it lists the details of every one of them in a spreadsheet. So it's real quick and easy to look at.
Is that the one
Maybe
that
we
got sent out
circulate,
already?
can we
or-
circulate that in advance and then we can all just resolve that we can talk about. It seems to me that I thought that the model bylaws would be, would be locked to use those, but maybe it's, and it would give us the advantage of saying that they're the model, it's a model, we didn't gin it up. It's sort of like we're pitching it right down the middle. But we can.
Bob, was
now
that the
do it
Excel
in-
table?
Maybe there's simpler ones that.
The December
that-
newsletter, Ken.
Thank you.
Yeah, everybody
I have a
probably got that. Right.
Because it just seems to me like we just have to decide on what are the principal differences, what are the key to vary, and then just sort of decide on. And I do think you're right that we want to get something we don't need to build the Mercedes-Benz of town of bylaws. We just want something that is, isn't going to create controversy, which is what happened last time.
So I have that. I could send it around. If
Thank you.
Didn't get it, but and I have a quick question. Is there anything in Concord's or the model that doesn't apply to us? That is like completely we should be ignoring or not dealing with?
No, I mean, Concord has the setback vernal pools. Theirs is pretty, and mitigation, the performance standards, this is pretty basic. Because they have other comprehensive regulations in their town.
Hmm.
But every contiguous town to Wakefield has a bylaw. Even Saugus.
Yeah, there's over, like I said, there's over
And that's
200
not,
towns
and
in
that's
Mass.
something that's good to say. We're just trying to be like the other guy. We're outliers. We're trying not to be, right?
Not over conservative.
Yeah, I mean, think about if we had additional protection for isolated wetlands or vernal pools that the state doesn't protect,
Right.
how that would have changed some projects.
Yeah, I guess the question is, I don't know whether or not the townspeople want that or not. I don't know.
What is the downside of that, though? You already have a 25-foot policy that has never been a reason for the commission to deny it because there's
Yeah.
always been balance. So I don't see what the downside is to adding even minimal protections. The problem that the townspeople had before was the bylaw was incredibly poorly written. It was way, way too technical, and it included fines. Fines was the hangup. And
Yeah.
that's not going to be included in this.
And that was many years ago, Judy. How long ago was that?
It wasn't that long ago.
That wasn't the one we just lost like within a couple of years. That
No, that was probably 14 years ago.
okay.
The
That's a
most recent one.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's a while ago. Yeah.
There are fines in the Concord one, but we just won't do it.
Oh, there are.
Yeah,
All right.
we won't include them.
But I mean, it's not recommended anymore, and that wouldn't be, that wouldn't go over well. That, I mean, there's no way to enforce it. That's the problem. So that's, I don't think that's even a conversation. Plus, the zoning bylaws that are, really should be under conservation are really nothing but confiscatory. And it needs to be addressed. And this is, I think, the perfect timing to address it.
Well, I agree with that. So let's just, I think we're all in agreement that we want to get a bylaw on up for vote in the spring. I think that's
Okay,
a
so
great.
what if it's put on the first meeting in January to discuss, and then you have that time to look over things?
Yeah, I like that idea. Perfect.
It's really twofold, right? It's the wetlands, additional protections, but then it's bringing the other kind of bylaws into our purview, right?
Right.
So I think the wetlands part of it can be easily cobbled together using the model and just
Yeah.
copying everyone else's. But I think what my concern is, I wouldn't know how to word or draft or even approach the other part of it.
But Judy, I'm still confused. The one in the zoning bylaw, there's just one little provision. Is there more than that?
What do you mean?
Just what I said. In the zoning bylaw, doesn't it say there's no building within 50 feet of a what? I mean,
No, the open space bylaw is 20-foot buffer unless the planning board determines that no buffer is necessary. Plus,
So I
you
guess my
can
question
can
is,
build a road over the buffer.
So Judy, again, I'm asking you to do work. Not that you're not a good worker, because you do, and you do so much more than just being, taking minutes of our meeting. Is that, can you send us what exists in the town that in the open space bylaw, which the open space bylaw exists?
I sent it to you already.
But is your point, Judy, that
It shouldn't be under zoning.
If we have if we draft an appropriate bylaw that, that's either similar to the model bylaw or the Concord bylaw, that obviates the need for the town, for the planning board to have the zoning board to have that bylaw, an open space bylaw, right?
Yes.
Okay, and your point is that if they did keep that open space bylaw and we adopted a bylaw, then they're a little bit inconsistent with each other.
Correct.
And so therefore, it's not that we have to incorporate anything more, is that if we just do, like, for example, the model bylaw, that would obviate the need to have an open space bylaw. And I just want to make sure that's what you're saying, right?
Well, no, because the open space bylaw,
What?
bylaw is a means by which one can subdivide based on clustering houses together, leaving bigger open areas. But there's
Okay.
already a cluster development bylaw. So it's a way to get the conversation moving, to get it, could just take it off the books altogether, perhaps.
Okay.
So this, I saw your email, the open space development, that was added in 2004, that exists already in Wakefield.
Yes.
No, but does anyone ever comply with this?
I don't know that anything's been built under it.
Okay.
Wasn't that wasn't Carriage Lane or something? That was the only one I know of.
Yep.
Is that under the open space, or isn't there a cluster
I'm
development?
not sure. I thought it was open space because there's around that's the one right off the lake, around the portions of the homes or somewhere there's open space, but it's only for the neighbors to use.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was done under that. I'm not sure. It could have been.
I remember
Wasn't that-
Paul Revy said it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So Judy, you're saying it's this open space bylaw, then there's the provision in the zoning code about being within 50 feet. And then you're saying there's also a separate cluster development bylaw that has
No,
provisions?
the cluster development, I don't think has anything about encroachment into wetlands.
Okay.
The only
So it's-
reason, yeah, because the
Okay.
wetland bylaw, they just reviewed at the bylaw review committee. That's why it came up.
So it's the open space development, it's this one plus the little provision in
Correct.
the zoning code. Those are the two things. And are you saying that and again, I'm sorry if I asked this question and did understand the answer. At the spring meeting, those two are gonna be taken away? I don't, so.
No.
So how can we have conflicting things if those other two are not being taken away?
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you have a wetland bylaw, then you can move to say this will be covered under our wetland bylaw.
But then the townspeople have to then agree to amend the other bylaws to get rid of it. I mean,
Yeah, so they have to have that in advance. It has to be up on the ballot to get rid of that bylaw, right?
right, so
Or
I'm just
to-
saying, and unless that happens, you're gonna have conflicting things. That's all. I'm just trying to understand the process, Judy. That's all.
But is that a reason not to have a wetland bylaw? I mean, it
I'm
could
not
happen.
saying that. I'm not saying that at all.
I think what Teresa's saying, I'm saying, is that we should just go ahead and proceed with our wetland bylaw and maybe to worry a little bit less about what the zoning board's doing.
I totally disagree with that because that's.
Yeah, I disagree with that too. That's not what I mean.
No.
Because we're trying to get them, but we're trying to now influence what they put on their ballot, which means that we're gonna need a lot more time, you know?
Wait, can I ask a quick question?
You're saying that we're not only trying to get our own bylaw passed, but we're also advocating for the zoning board to propose a bylaw that incorporates our comments, right?
No. To eliminate that provision in the bylaw.
Okay, that's okay.
Eliminate.
Well, that's what I said before. I said, isn't it superfluous? And then because it's superfluous, and Judy said no.
I didn't say that. I
said they started out by saying if we adopt ours, it'll be superfluous that they have theirs. And
no, well, it'll be dangerous if there's two. If it's I mean, not dangerous. They'll still have it. So unless they get rid of it, it'll still be there. That's all.
It's not up to just them to get rid of it. The commission can put forward a warrant article to delete that bylaw as well. Anyone can.
To delete the zoning bylaw provision?
Yes.
No,
Okay.
we tried to delete it, didn't, I failed.
But that's what happened 2 years ago.
yeah, and we don't want to try to delete something without over the
But there isn't any need for it, Peter. It's already covered under the Wetlands Protection Act.
Well, I know, but I don't care. If you say to anyone, we want you to do something and you don't consult them, they're going to say, we're not doing it.
But it's not up
Right.
it's not up to that board. It's up to the townspeople.
Yeah, well, you know what? The townspeople are going to care what their board thinks.
And I'm trying to think, how was it done last time? So we proposed it to be deleted, and then did we talk with the zoning bot?
It was a citizen. No, it was a citizen's petition.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't the commission.
Okay.
And the planning board was supportive of it. For the same reasons that the commission put forward.
That's right. All I'm saying is that we want the planning board to be supportive of whatever we propose.
Well,
That's all.
It's the planning board plus the Board of Appeal. Was the Board of Appeal not supportive of it? Judy, I don't remember.
I don't know that they had a comment about it.
Wait, Judy, are they not? I thought that they were planning to eliminate the language that talked about a structure within 50 feet of that, what they called embankment. Are you saying that they're only changing that language to be more accurate? I thought they were eliminating that altogether because they've never stuck by it.
Who was eliminating it?
I thought when they were redoing the bylaws, that was the purpose of this bylaw committee was, and they had asked for, we commented on that ages ago. I guess maybe that's my assumption that I thought, because they've had this on the books for however many years and not one person has enforced it.
Right.
Well,
That's not true.
Until 3 years ago.
Right.
Okay, you're right. You're right.
Years, but they started doing it. Yeah. Did the bylaw review committee ask for comment?
Yeah, I think they did. Didn't
Oh,
they?
I didn't know about that. I don't know. I didn't know about that.
I'll have to look back. I don't know. There's too many things floating around. I just was under the impression. I know we discussed the language of it, and I remember Jim. I remember you wrote that letter, but I guess maybe I'll just ask because it was such a crazy bylaw that they had
Right.
that was not often enforced, and it was based, I'm not sure where they got their measurements from, because it
They
was
deferred-
measuring,
They deferred to the commission setback.
but they never asked us.
It's the same as they asked when they got a filing for it. They asked for comment and the order of, they would follow what the setback was in the order of conditions that the.
We didn't
commission-
have, yeah, but that's what I mean is like, we didn't have a 50-foot setback of structures, so. I don't
No,
know
but
if they
they,
ever-
but they agreed with whatever setback the commission set.
Well, if that's the case, why do they bother having it if they're just gonna agree with whatever we say? Because anything within 50 feet is we're gonna review, and if they're gonna defer to us, then why bother having it?
That's right.
That's right. So it needs to go. That.
I thought it was going, but I could be wrong. I could have just made that assumption, but maybe I'll ask. May ask. My list.
What came out of that letter that Jimmy sent over? I don't think.
That was some
Anything
weird,
happened,
remember
right?
they were talking about the term embankment and we were like, there is no term embankment.
Yeah.
And well, maybe that's true. They did not write it correctly. So that it made any sense. It sent it back to conservation to a situation that we couldn't really answer.
But it's up to the building inspector's interpretation, apparently.
Right.
Right, that's right. It is.
Which, whatever.
But that's problematic, I think, for homeowners, right? So what if they get
It
a
is.
building permit from one, I mean, we see this all the time. That there is a building permit, look at some of the sheds that we've seen very recently. I mean, they may or may not have had a building permit. I don't know the answer, but I know sometimes they get building permits. And not only is that bylaw not enforced, but we're not even notified. So it doesn't, there's no rhyme or reason to this, and it's certainly not consistent. And so then you have a homeowner who comes to us years later for something else, and we're like, hey, what the heck happened here? And they say, oh, well, I got a building permit sign off. I thought I was all set.
Right.
Rebecca, you're preaching to the choir, Rebecca. We agree with you. You don't have to convince us.
Oh, that's true.
We're all on board with this.
So can you just look at the bylaw stuff and we'll talk about it in the first meeting in January?
That's
About
January 2nd.
including wetland bylaw, please.
Yes.
So can we
Okay.
talk about Jimmy's meeting with Steve Mayo?
My meeting with Steve Mayo.
Yeah.
Basically, Steve said that, oh God, what did Steve say now? I told you what he said, right?
Yep.
Well, tell him
Do you
what
want
I
me to
said.
tell you?
Yeah,
That they don't want to pay benefits, that's why they don't want to go to 30 hours?
that's part of it, yeah. Well, according to Steve, that's part of it. But we have to go to the town council and explain why we can't do it in 19 hours. Why we could possibly have to need more like 36.
The problem is that I think there's a few things. I mean, I really think that you guys are sort of at a tipping point here. I'm not sure which way you guys want to go, but you either have to advocate for your work hard, or I don't think anything is going to change. And the reality is, I mean, like, I'll do that. I'll draft up some of those orders of conditions for what we talked about earlier, but then I'm going to have to push something else aside. And I can't put all this model bylaw stuff together for you because I just don't have time to do it, because there's other things and something's always going to give. But I'm not sure how you sell that to folks who may not have the same values regarding
Right.
conservation that
Exactly.
you have.
That is the issue.
And it may or may, I mean, it seems like that's the issue, and I'm not sure. So what you have to do, if you're interested, and if this is where you guys want to see what's happening, is you have to give them the information about why it is valuable that they just aren't really thinking about. And if you want to do that, or, I mean, it is ludicrous. So I went out to that site visit very recently, and the consultant was like, "You're literally Wakefield's one of the only towns that has a part-time position. It's ludicrous." But if they don't understand why you need more and what
You
it
know what? I think that's an
do,
important thing, though. Like what the other guy is doing, that tells you that we're not, we're an outlier. That our conservation needs are no less than the other towns. They all have a full-time agent, and we're struggling as a result.
yeah, I mean, things don't get done. That's the reality. But they don't see that.
When you say that every other town has a full-time agent.
But do we
And
know
we
that for
don't.
certain, Rebecca? What you sent us before was during the pandemic, I think. So I'm not sure we have that information.
So I can get that information probably. And the stuff that I sent you was at that point in time, DEP was looking at whether or not there were large reductions in staff during COVID.
Right.
So that's what they were looking at. I mean, so for instance, we get job postings all the time on our, because all the MACC, like all the conservation commissions, we all are on the same network. And so anytime there's a job opening anywhere in the state, everybody knows about it, right? So I think Jim, I showed you those like today. There's like 5 job postings. Every single one of them is full-time.
Yeah,
like
you know what? I think that's the whole point of compensation study is, I mean, it's that we're just trying to bring ourselves in line with other towns. And certainly I think that we should lead with that. And we are finding that we're having problems. We can't get our work done.
In addition, I think to, and Judy, I know we talked about this, but as I think about this, and I think one of the reasons why it hasn't been so obvious, this lack of time, is because there's been backup systems that have been in place. And, like, and here's the thing that stuck out recently was I was out sick. And if I'm out sick, there's nobody to cover. There's nothing happens. And if it just so happens that I'm out sick on a Thursday, you know what I mean? Like I'm in the office on Tuesday, I'm not back until Tuesday. And it's really, it's a struggle for consultants or people who want to get something done. It's frustrating. And I get that.
I think that's the most important thing. I think that's the most important thing. I mean, I think this is it's not something that there's not a lot to be said beyond that this is a full-time position in all the other towns and we can't keep up. And
what I was going to say is one of the reasons why it hasn't been so obvious is because, for example, when I was out, someone contacted Judy over in the accounting department, and what we realized was that her name was still on the website. So I think the point is that we've all sort of, Judy and I and Elaine have all sort of made this work so that things don't fall through the cracks because we don't want them to. And what has happened is that it looks like it's all getting done, and that there's not a problem, but there is a problem, to be honest with you. It's impossible. And there's so many trainings and there's so many new regulations and there's so many other things going on. And it's just, I mean, it comes down, I mean, I don't know what the town council values. I don't know them. And it's your town, and I don't know where you guys want it to go in the future.
No, I think we should just say it. That's right.
I'm not sure that'll convince anybody because it all comes down to money.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have the smallest department. We have like, one of the only departments that has, half a position.
I understand. All right. Well, let's go before the town council then.
It sounds like we should beef up that letter that we've drafted, though.
Yes.
Expand on the task lists. What needs to be done, especially tasks that need to be done and aren't necessarily getting done. Rebecca, could you provide us with a list of
I don't have time.
She already did.
She did.
Tonight
Yeah,
we
she already-
I sent it with the letter.
Oh, you mean, okay, yes.
That's the list of tasks she does. And then and Ken did an email about what's not getting, all those things that she
I
does.
think we need to maybe expand on what not and what happens. Like you just mentioned, can you get consultants in there and say things are going slower because you only have an agent for half time? Can it come from lots of different directions, and can we give specific details as why it's an issue? How
And
it affects the townspeople how it affects their constituents.
That's right. That's exactly right, Kevin.
Precise. And I told Rebecca, send them over to someone else. You don't have time, keep sending it to the same person. Keep sending them over to Steve and make him or whoever realize how many things come down the line that you deal with, that you work on, that you can't do.
So
Send
Rebecca,
your
you
kids in
you
to
vol-
talk
you,
to.
vol- you
Yeah.
volunteered to take my letter and to revise it, and I know you don't have time to do that. I know, but but you certainly and again give examples, and then we can put our heads together, other of us, to put
Yeah,
give,
I think
to
I
give
think-
other examples, and then we have to ask to meet, send that letter, and then ask to make sure we're on the town council agenda for January 8th.
yeah. And I
Right?
think as many people as that can attend that to show that this isn't just sort of one
Right.
little niche group that is interested in this wild and crazy idea.
You know,
Um,
we could even contact some of our townsfolk to be at that hearing.
I think that's great. I'd be choosy. I don't know if that's the right word. I don't know.
Selective.
Maybe that's good. Yeah.
You know, I was saying to Rebecca today too, also, I think you need to show how the job has changed from when we first became a commission.
They could say, well, it's you know, you've lived all these years with this. Why is it work? Why do you need it now?
Right.
You know why? Because Judy and I and Elaine do it on our free time and we're not willing to do it anymore. It's part of the reason.
Send them
That's
bill.
why. You know, and that's what I said. We didn't help ourselves. We shot ourselves in the foot by having all of these backup systems so that things don't fail, because they should have failed. Because then it would have realized that it wasn't working, but we didn't want it to fail. So everybody stepped in. I mean, Judy does a lot more that.
Judy, I know Judy does tremendous more.
That's right. And she doesn't get paid for any of that or
Nothing. No, I
I
know.
thank her tremendously all the time, but I just saying like that, it really hit home when that consultant couldn't get me. So they found her number on the website and I promptly had her number taken down because it shouldn't be there. It's not her. She doesn't need to be doing that.
No.
And you know, the town didn't want to have enough hours to have it covered, then that's the town's problem, not for Judy and I to pick up the extra, just, you know. So, and I'll tell you on a personal note, I was really upset because I've been here for 16 years. And for 16 years, I've just operated like this. And for someone to say, oh, we don't want to pay her benefits, to me, I thought that was really disappointing.
Yeah.
So Judy, let me ask you. Excuse me. Rebecca, how would it work? So you want, like I said, we would ask 36 hours for you, and then would Elaine still have hours? That's my question.
No, I was so when I was working 30, it seemed to be a good flow. I mean, I'm kind of flexible if that doesn't work exactly right. It doesn't really matter. But I thought like around 30 and Elaine did 5. So that
Okay.
was
30 for you. Okay, and 5
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, and I think the issue is, isn't it anything over 19, you got to start paying benefits? Is that right?
Yes, that's why I'm at 19
Right, exactly. Okay.
for
Okay.
16 years.
So 30 plus 5. Okay.
Yeah.
So Rebecca, again, do you want to take a crack at revising that letter, and we can work on it too? I mean, as long as we submit it prior to January 8th, right? Can we request? How do we request being on the agenda for the town council meeting? Do you know that, Judy?
I think you have to put a request in with Sherry.
Okay. So we could just email Sherry saying the Conservation Commission would like to appear before the town council on, January 8th in order
Yes.
to discuss increasing the weekly budgeted hours for our conservation agents.
Yes.
And I think that stuff has to be done around me. They don't really want me involved in it. It would seem they really want it to come.
Oh yeah, no, without you, no, absolutely,
Okay.
no. That email will not come from you. I mean, again, Jimmy, I can prepare that email and you could forward on to Sherry if you'd like,
Okay.
because I think it should come from you as chair, but
Right.
Yeah, my name is Frank.
But so I would assign it. So we have to correct the website. The website has you listed
You
as,
worry about too much.
so, but Rebecca can have your name changed there, can't you? Can't you
Sure.
change? So
Yep.
you would like, you would like F. James Luciani.
Junior.
No junior. Do you want the junior?
No, I'm a junior.
Asking.
That's my correct legal name.
No,
Frank
it's
James Luciani.
F. James Luciani,
What?
comma, junior, right?
Frank James Luciani Jr.
That's not what, it's Frank James Luciani Jr.?
Yes.
No
Okay.
Francis. No Francis there.
Don't call me Francis.
We'll call you Frankie.
That was from
Deadpool.
Stripes.
Bob Romano, did you just make a Deadpool reference?
It was from Stripes.
Oh, Stripes. I don't know what's the. No, I
Yeah.
think it's Deadpool too.
Yeah.
No, that's
Okay.
where's Francis.
So, Jimmy, I'll send you that email so you can forward it on to Sherry, okay?
Frank.
And
Frank J.
Yeah, but everyone's got to review it, right? You're gonna send
no,
it.
the email, no, not the letter, just the email with the request.
Oh, with the request? Let's get the letter written first, and then we'll put the email. in.
Okay, all right. Yes, I'm
All
sorry.
right.
So
All right,
everyone,
you guys.
I actually think you should get the
Let's just
request
don't
in
miss the
first.
Me
budget
too.
deadline because of the
yeah,
letter.
I would just put the request in.
I would
and do
too.
Yes,
we'll do the request. The request is a 2-line email. You can send that tomorrow, Jimmy.
Yep.
yeah,
Okay.
we want to make sure that gets in
On time,
in
yeah.
time.
I
Yeah.
agree.
And then we can all have to commit to working on the letter. And I don't know, Rebecca, again, if you can take a first crack at it, that would be great.
I'll give you some information that
That's it. That's good.
Rebecca,
Give me the
about
information.
how
I
it's
know you
not
gave us a
working.
big, I know you gave us a big list, but if you can give any kind of really specific details or something that happened recently or something
Yeah.
that might be more
Yeah,
important.
some
that the
specifics would be helpful,
town's
right?
Spoken on, 'cause I think it's a multiple lines of evidence type of thing where we could say every other town has full-time. We're missing out on these things. The town people are missing out on these things. And just
Well, yeah,
come with
and
this
saying
multi-pronged-
that every other town, I mean, we have to be certain of the facts. That in fact, Saugus, Stoneham, Reading,
right.
Linfield, if all those towns, North Reading, if all those towns have
And
full
I
time.
can look into it and say, we have more wetlands than these towns. We have more projects. We've had 38 NOIs while this town has a full-time person and they've had 18 NOIs,
Is
I can
there a
look
way?
into the
That's a good
workload.
question. Is there a way to measure the sheer number of applications we've gotten?
Yep.
Yeah, you can look at any town online through DEP's website.
No, but
So-
even if we say what the increase has been over the years, that would be helpful too.
We're at file number 636.
But I
That's
mean,
71
it's
Kendrick
just
Road.
about, looking at tons of different things to provide. I don't know, that's how I feel.
Yeah, it's not just the number of filings, it's the complexity of the
Yes,
project.
no, it
Solar
absolutely.
Power Parkway, the Vogue, the high school.
But it might be obvious, it might be like Reading gets 15 and we get 50 a year. They have a full-time, we obviously need a full-time, stuff like that.
I don't know how we know, but how we know what the number of filings for other towns per year.
NOIs are online.
They're all available
NOIs are all
online
listed at DEP. You can just go there, put your town in and put dates in if you wanted to and count them.
and it lists all of them.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna send you the email tomorrow, Jimmy, to send on to Sherry. And then we're all gonna commit to working on the letter before January. And then everyone, you know what? I know this sounds rich, but maybe you can, or I can do it too. Rebecca, send an invitation for January 8th at 7 to attend the town council meeting.
Is that when it is? When is
Yes.
the next town council meeting?
January 8th at 7.
January 8th, they're discussing the conservation budget.
January 8th. Okay.
Mhm. I will confirm that, but that's what I've been told.
That should be enough time to write a letter.
Okay.
Done.
All right, anything else?
Motion to adjourn.
Hey, hey, there is a chance
Motion.
I may not make the 19th meeting. I might be flying back from Florida. I'm booking tickets probably tomorrow. And I know I'll be coming back Tuesday. I just don't know what time yet.
Okay, well,
I'll let you
while
guys
we have
know.
everyone, do we want to discuss a holiday event?
Do you want
Yeah.
to do it after Christmas like last year? Is that easier
Yes.
for people's schedules?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll plan something in January then.
Alrighty, and I'm gonna make a plea not to do it at Artichokes.
Thank you.
I will be away the 1st through the 25th of January. So you can do it without me if that fits folks' calendars, but anyway,
Just so we can drool, where are you going, Paul?
I'm going to New Zealand
Of course, we'll drool. Didn't you recently go to Australia?
last year.
Aren't those two countries very similar?
No,
I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding, I swear to God.
But they're fairly close to each other.
Exactly, they're so close.
oh,
Could have
yeah,
knocked them both
they're
out.
about like from here to it's a 4-hour flight. My wife found out when she did it one time.
They're so close. They're so
Yeah,
close. Really.
that's right. On a scale of things, yep. That's true.
If you're gonna make it that distance, you might as well do them both at the same time.
Exactly. Good. It's a long flight, gosh.
Make it a month.
I did a month in Australia.
Right. That's right. Alrighty. See you
All
all.
right. So do we have a
So
motion
next
to
week
adjourn?
in person. I will just tell you, I will be late to that meeting because I have another meeting that ends at 7, but I'll get there as soon as I can.
Right.
Okay.
All right, so right now it's 50-50 that I'll even make the 19th, but I'll let everybody know.
Are you gonna be there the 13th next week?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Ask me for the motion, Bob. Ask me
All
for the
right.
motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second. All in favor? Jimmy,
Yes. How about time?
Ken,
Frank, whatever your name is.
Haley,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
and I also vote yes. All right, good night, everybody.
Good night.
I know.